guys, did you catch this? Kayla and April asked for an attorney. They did not, in the supplementary report, it does not say they asked for Nick Rekieta to be an attorney. They asked for an attorney. So my theory, I want to say, is that they didn't want Nick as their attorney. And then Nick, because Nick in the arraignment, he was like, I need to speak to my clients. And it's like, well, April was already released. And it seems to me to believe that Nick thought he was going to be their attorney and thought, they were going to say Nick is their attorney. But actually, no. Right? PPP, I got to start by apologizing, man. I'm sorry that I said the only legal use you are is as an expert witness for Tim Hortons. I apologize.
That's keynote. No, that's funny. That's awesome.
So sorry, Ashton.
The problem is it's not even good anymore. It hasn't been good since the Americans took it over. I think it's Brazilians. It's shit now, man.
No, it's but you know what else is fucked? You know what else is fucked? This fucking case.
Child abuse? Yeah.
Are getting really fucked. You know, the thing is that, guys, I really started and you can go back, watch my channel. I was getting shit from people for nose guarding. I was getting shit from the Kiwis. I was getting shit from everybody. Nobody was happy with me because I'm doing we're doing legal analysis. We're doing professional. We're doing down the line. But the more and more we got into not just the law, but also the facts, it started looking bad for Rekieta. And now the crazy thing is, the Kiwis, they've done their homework. I told them, I said, hey, guys, go out there. I challenged both of them. I challenged the Baldo guards and I challenged the Kiwis. I said, go out there and go get evidence and facts. Nick people, stop talking about friendship. Kiwis, stop just talking about random degen shit that has nothing to do with the legal claims. Because it's funny on your stream, and you guys are, look, you're not a law stream. You guys are saying the things. The Baldo can be hilarious, but in this scenario, it's not about funny haha anymore. It's about facts. And the only people who produce the facts is Joshua fucking Moon and the Kiwi Farms, who have gone out and gotten 2 reports. They're going to get the body cam footage. And I just signed I'm about to sign an affidavit to make sure it's televised, right? I'm going to put myself out there to sign a fucking affidavit to have this thing televised. They've done the homework. Nick's people are still saying friendship is magic like they're bronies. I mean, these guys are absolutely crazy.
I agree with you, but I would say this in defense of them. I think they've been getting the facts all along. To tell you the truth, all of their speculation, it's turned out to be true. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's unfair to say. I mean, we'll see as more and more and more and more comes out. We'll see that even more and more of what they said was true. But I wanted to bring you on because you're a lawyer. You understand this stuff. And the main issue in contention here is the probable cause.
Sure.
What is probable cause?
Okay,
and did this warrant meet probable cause? Because I'm basically being told that in order for there to be probable cause, we need 4K footage of him snorting the cocaine, buying the cocaine. Can you explain this to us?
Sure. So, there's people out there like Viva Fry and Robert Barnes and a couple of other folks that they're a little confused about what that means. They think that means proof beyond a reasonable doubt. They think that means that we have to have a full criminal trial and a jury and facts that are absolutely verified and everything needs to be clear. No. Probable cause is literally just a threshold of more likely than not. It's just a 51% will get you there, right? Probable cause is not a slam dunk. And also, the other thing that they're doing right now, and this is the most damning thing they're doing, is they are taking it all in isolation. They never address all of the evidence cumulatively. They attack one thing, and they say, this person, in fact, Nick has said this dumb idiot who is still commenting on locals. He's still commenting in group text. He's still commenting. No, we're going to go there. Yeah, but what I'm saying is he is going with this theory of, there's one person with animus. Well, guess what, Nick? Guess what? There's 5 people that reported you, and your own stream snitched on you, and Aaron's stream snitched on you. All this evidence taken together needs to be defeated, not just one. In that search warrant to find probable cause, they look at the totality. They look at everything. You've got them literally, Nick showing up with the fucking dot. You guys covered that on your channel.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
guys zoomed in
Oh,
on
but
it.
I was crazy. No, I was
crazy.
Andy's insane. He was eating powdered donuts.
Well,
Right.
honestly, Andy, if we're gonna trust you on one thing, if you're the expert witness on one thing, it's using Coke.
It's
Okay,
Coke.
so
Yeah.
I mean,
I
and
am
you
the
admit it.
Coke
And
expert.
honestly, Andy, I got a lot of
And I'm
respect
the
for you.
powdered donut expert.
You're right, though. You're right, and you, Andy, you admit it, and you come out there and you say, yeah, you know, it's fucked up.
But it was never
it's so
around
horrible.
kids. There was no, like, it was, I fucked my own life up. And remember, for 8 months, I was going, Nick, I've been here, I've been there. You got to stop. It's going to kill you.
Right.
And everyone's like, Andy, he's just drinking. And look, I'm not like, look, if you're going to party and do drugs or drink alcohol, like, make sure you fuck your own life up. That's it. Like, it's up to
look,
you.
I'm okay with that. If you want to ride yourself alone into a ditch, okay, whatever. That's your life. You can do that, right? But when you have kids and a wife, you've got different responsibilities. If you didn't want a wife, you should have had a divorce. And if you didn't want kids, you shouldn't have had a kid, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I know. So,
It's
like,
not that
'cause
hard.
it seems to me like Robert Barnes is trying to make it out to be that getting a search warrant is like impossible.
Robert Barnes has never gone at the lower level. And once again, look, I'm not the lawyer who's out there doing criminal trials, whatever. I actually was more of a property specialist. I'm a Florida lawyer.
Yeah.
But what I am good at is sorting through the bullshit and the good analysis from the bad analysis. And every lawyer who knows, Steve Gosney, Nate, Coleman, everybody else, all the other lawyers say there's probable cause. The only lawyers that don't, the only ones that don't are literally Viva Fry and Robert Barnes, particularly now, even like you guys said, Uncivil, who was on the fence, flipped. Now, there's a couple others that I will say don't want to comment. They're still in the Nick is my friend, and I don't want to talk about it.
Keeping
and
quiet
a lot of,
type thing.
There's some of those guys, and a lot of those guys are doing that, by the way, because they were pulling from Nick even up to the end. They were in his chat. They were begging for redirects. They were begging for followers. They have a lot of crossover. A lot of the same pay pigs are in his as theirs. So they're really worried about the backlash on that. And look, I get it. I get why they're shutting up. But Viva and Barnes, they've decided not to shut up and to publicly sweep for Nick. And that's where they're going to be fucked, guys. That's where they're going to be fucked.
I want to go into, Andy, can you go into our legal mindset folder?
Yes.
And go into the folder called Barnes Coats.
You got your own folder, bud.
All right. I made it. I got a casino folder. I made it in the world. Forget it. It's over, guys. It's over.
One of the very
I'm gonna tell my mom.
Your folder is positive. It's not a negative folder.
Not yet.
By the way, when I was watching your show last week, I heard you say felted. I'm like, let's go. He said felted.
I have no idea where I got. No, of course. Yeah, guys, come on.
There are substantial constitutional questions about everything connected to the Rekieta case. So there's been a lot of focus in LawTube on the substantive charges and those that want to make sure that Nick's health is in good state, and that's understandable. But I think LawTube should start to focus on the constitutional issues of what's taking place here. You have a high-profile critic of the local court system, of the local prosecutors, of the local police, suddenly being subject to an extraordinary search warrant raid and questionable charges that raise questions under the first.
So this is making this wild theory that Nick Rekieta in his channel is focused on local justice in Minnesota. Nick Rekieta knows almost nothing about local justice in Minnesota because he's done almost no local work in Minnesota for a very long time. So at what point, I mean, Nick, you know, the non-practicing, I think Medicare's got the non-practicing stuff out there for sale, right? This guy is not out there defending high-profile local clients. He's defended some cases. He spoke up about Kyle Rittenhouse and Johnny Depp. Last time I checked, none of them are in Spicer, Minnesota, right? Last time I checked, these aren't local people he's defending. So I don't know what he's done. The only thing he has done, the only thing he's a critic of is his self-own. The only thing he did was he went out and badmouthed them because of the Montegraph case, which is because he got drunk and decided to talk about a judge, and this is not my words, this is his words, gushing alcohol out of her vagina, right? This is literally the words of a lawyer, Nick Rekieta, who said that about a judge, and now this judge is presiding over not just the case of Montegraph, but also his criminal proceedings because he lives in a small county, a rural county, which is not untypical of a rural county. This is a self-own. So when people talk about bias, oh, it's a biased judge, only bias was created by Nick Rekieta. It wasn't because this judge came out of here and out of nowhere and said this. No. In fact, we have zero statements of this judge saying anything about Nick Rekieta. The only we have is Nick Rekieta saying nasty things about them. If that was a standard in our legal system to disqualify a judge, oh, you just have to talk shit about them. Then you just talk shit about every judge and they'd all be disqualified.
I was about to say that. It's like if you're charged.
This is their defensive argument.
Whoa, let's go. Wow.
This is their argument. Jeez. This is the big brain Barnes argument. Once again, look, guys, I was willing, and true, if you look at my stream the day before, I had a PowerPoint. I was willing to go through the Constitution and do in plain nice. I even wrote a very nice DM to Barnes saying, hey, okay, well, let's talk about the Constitution. Let's do it out. Let's do it law tube style. Let's go out. Let's talk about the law. And you know what he decided to do, guys? He made a personal attack on Sean, and he called Sean a fucking grifter. And not only that, but he said Sean likes anime. Sean doesn't even like anime. He was confusing him for me.
I have that prepared. I have that folder prepared as well.
No way.
We'll go there. We'll go there after we deal with some of these Barnes.
But think about this. Think about this action. Is this the guy you want to handle your case if he can't even get the fucking facts straight? The basic factor. Is this the guy you want to defend you? I hope that Nick doesn't get sucked down this like Vic got sucked into the case by Nick. I hope it's not like karmic rebalancing where Barnes is sucking them into a lawsuit that's going to be, tilting at windmills, like he did with Vic.
If he takes Barnes on as his attorney, this is going to trial, right?
Well, he would try to make it to go to trial. Yeah, sure. He would try to make it.
And what would the consequences potentially be for Rekieta if he took this to trial?
Well, first of all, we're all going to fucking watch it.
Yes.
One. So that's one. We've got a petition in to watch it. You're going to have millions of views because everybody's going to watch it. This might have a fucking Netflix special made out of it. I mean, this is the level of this when Nick Rekieta, guy's got 500,000 subs. He was in the Johnny Depp Netflix special. The rise and fall of a lawyer on the internet, whatever. The rise and fall of the nose, the Baldo Pope, whatever you want to say. This documentary is going to be absolutely massive if it goes to trial. It embarrasses him. It embarrasses everybody else. The testimony will come out. It will look horrible for him. The thing he needs to do is, get that plea deal as soon as he can get the plea deal and shut the up until then. Stay off the internet. For the love of God, stay off Ralph's show and just calm the hell down.
Wait a minute there. Why would he need to stay off of the Ethan Ralph program?
More like legal sucker.
What is your problem with the illustrious kill stream? Legal mindset? More like legal sucker? I think that's something he said there.
Sorry, I got a coffee here and I'm killing me. People murder me right now. The problem is, look, it's not even Ethan Ralph, although that just makes it even worse. That just shows you like the depths to which he has fallen, right?
Yeah. Convicted felon show and sex offender show.
The depths to which you fall. But here's the thing. You got to stay off the internet. That's what I told to Aaron. And guess what? Aaron actually just said he's going to stop doing podcasts because of what I said.
I saw that Twitter post. Yeah, like the videos. Someone clipped it.
But isn't it too late?
Yeah, what do
he
you
already
think?
talked. He shouldn't have gone around and do it. Now, look, he was.
What's your thoughts about our show?
You guys are glad it was a good episode, all right, for you guys.
Yeah,
but it may not be a good episode for his criminal history. It's what it may not be.
Okay, what's all this you're saying? You were hinting at this on your show. I was watching it earlier. It was a great show.
It was great,
you did, and we're gonna repeat some of the same ground on this.
That's fine.
Show,
that's fine. It's useful because not everybody watches my show. There's,
But you were saying somebody had leaked to you that there's somebody going after Aaron to the sheriff's office or something like that. What's going on?
It's speculation. Once again, it's rumor, hearsay, grain of salt, right? And people love to run out there and say, "Oh, I know exactly what legal man says." No, a lot of people are telling me information right now behind the scenes, and it's like I heard that somebody might give information to the sheriff, which could implicate Aaron and Multi, right? So,
but was it Star Wars Girl?
No, it was not Star Wars Girl. Once again, it was not Star Wars Girl. It was not Anna. It was nobody.
Are you saying that Ethan Ralph told a lie? He is an honest man.
I can't with that fucking accent.
I love it. I love it.
I can't.
So somebody is trying to get him in shit now. with the sheriff. Like, how is that going to work though? Because there's no actual physical evidence, right, of him doing this stuff or like.
Well,
what?
remember, there's a lot of different things he could potentially get in trouble for. I mean, there's more. You can get convicted of something on any given day, right? And if anything, he's given statements to law enforcement, right? He claims to have spoken to law enforcement.
Yeah.
And if any of his statements to law enforcement contradict one of the many, many streams he's had and many, many things he's had on his own show and on the podcast, right there, you've got something, right? So like, there's a lot of stuff going on there.
True.
There's a lot of potential there. Also, once again, at the end of the day, he was there, from what we see in the supplementary report, living with the Rekietas, right? That's the assertion of this new report, is that he was living there, right? So there could be a chance that he could share some of the same charges that might have been levied at April or even at the Rekietas, or different charges. So the point is that I would just be very careful with him. Look, once again, does it hurt to shut the fuck up? No. So shut the fuck up, right? Just wait. You've only got to chill. And I know for Steel Toe, I mean, you guys felt at Steel Toe pretty hard. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. He looked at the camera and went, I've been felted. Like, whoa.
It was a judgment-free zone of love.
I mean,
Safe
it's nice. It's nice for him to come on. It was, great entertainment for him to come on and say it. But at this point, he really needs to go away, because I think he sees this, and I said this on the stream, and he actually acknowledged it. He's coming off as a clout chaser, a clout goblin, because this is his moment in the sun. This is the most views and clicks that Steel Toe's ever got. It's been on the internet for 13 years, and it's got 12K subs on YouTube. I mean, I'm sorry, like, Aaron, I know you see your moment in the sun, but it's not the thing you want to do. Not when there's criminal charges involved. I would step back and chill and maybe think about what you're doing with your life,
Yeah, I would say. I mean, the man was just in a swinger relationship,
doing drugs and
doing
kids,
cocaine around children that weren't being fed and neglected.
I mean, he can read a book. He can read a book on how to give his wife an orgasm, and then the next time won't be so bad. So.
Oof.
Hell shot.
What did you think about him falling in love with Kayla? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I've said this on my stream, is that, with him, I generally think most things are okay that he said are credible, right? Generally. But he's got two conflicting stories. And you guys said this, right? Yeah. There's the sex god, Aaron, and I can't give a woman an orgasm. And you can't square that. You can't square those two. But other than his perhaps exaggerating about his dick, other than that, I generally think
this is what I think is the general outline of it is true. However, a lot of these details,
what?
Well, it'd be too small to see. However, the general outline of it might be true, but most of the details he gave that made him look good are fucking bullshit. And I said to him, seems like you're the hero in all of these stories, right? Mm-hmm. And you're not the hero. You're a bystander who let all this fucking shit happen, if not like a willful participant.
Right.
I mean,
you got cucked by Nick Rekieta.
Well, what's is they're cucking each other.
Right, yeah,
so,
sure.
It's kind of crazy. Why are they I just I tried to get him to walk me down the path of how he made this decision, and it still made no fucking sense to me.
And they used the ball though. They used the ball, though, at least
once again, those details to me, and I've said this before, it's legally irrelevant, but the things that are starting to get relevant are the fact that he was there he was kind of taking care of the kids. So if he was watching the kids, I mean, technically I'd have to read the Minnesota statutes and check, but he might be liable for child neglect if he was serving in a caretaker role, right? And they were away and he was caretaking them, right? And was he using drugs at the time? Once again, be very careful about what you're saying on the internet. I'm not saying he's going to ultimately get charged or not, but I doubt that he has a promise in writing from the prosecutor not to prosecute him. These things don't happen. I mean, and I doubt he has that. So I would just be very careful about saying.
To me, he comes across as kind of a simpleton, to be honest, that's digging his own grave.
I'm trying. When I see a lemur, what is it, a lemming? Not a lemur, a lemming running for the cliff. I'm like, hey, don't run off that. And if it's already running at a top speed, I mean, you're just gonna watch it fall.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish off this Barnes clip, and then let's go to a couple of the other things he's been saying.
All righty.
First Amendment.
Pretty wild.
Here, I'll rewind in a second.
Suddenly being subject to an extraordinary search warrant raid and questionable.
How is it extraordinary? How is
Barnes' belief is that it's based on one Nick Rekieta stream and one dot on his nose or something. That's what Nick Rekieta believes. That's right. That's what Barnes believes. Barnes
Barnes
believes Rekieta was rated based on one podcast, and he's convinced, and he continues to, and then he'll go out and attack the one anonymous reporter, but he never puts it together. He never says, "Well, blank plus blank isn't enough." Right? He always goes after one, after the other, after bit by bit. That's why he's saying it's extraordinary. And at this point, he was kind of getting ahead of his skis. He was talking about this before we had both the documents which Joshua Moon produced on the Kiwi Farms, right?
In front of the show, yep.
Josh has done good work. He got the evidence. He got the contacts. He's got the attorney. I spoke to his attorney. He's a sharp guy. I mean, he's got more practice in Minnesota than Nick ever has. So, it's absolutely, it's absolutely funny to see them putting up the evidence and Nick's side just losing the plot. So in this case, he doesn't really have that argument because he's just picking off one specific piece of evidence. And this is what every other lawyer has said. This isn't just me. This isn't just Legal Mindset. Every other lawyer who's talking about this and doesn't have Nick's Baldo in their mouth has said the exact same thing.
Yeah, and by the way, I heard the footage was $3,000 because they have to censor like 50 body cams and
going to fundraise for that. So Josh is going to fundraise for that and get that, which is great.
I'll pitch.
Because well, think about it, guys. Think about it. Nick Rekieta, as soon as we get that body cam footage, he is either DOA or he's proven completely innocent in this massive government conspiracy. Because he has said in multiple places, that is nothing about the kids. He never neglected the kids. The kids are great. Everything is fine with the kids, blah, blah, blah. If we see any of this evidence, even a single piece of it's dirty. We see the kid asking for clothes, officer, can I have clothes? Which frankly, like you was at PPP, that fucking broke me. Like that, reading that fact almost broke me. And
it makes me pissed, and like it genuinely makes me pissed. Like I know I'm very performative and theatrical on this show.
It's a genuine. That moment, that fact is a reason to get angry, and that's justified.
All right, let's finish this clip off because he's gonna. Here we go. He's gonna tell us about
that raise questions under the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, and even the Sixth Amendment to the U.S.
Okay, pause. Like, what the is he talking about?
Yeah, he mentioned some amendments that are like, wait, what the fuck? So like the First Amendment was a questionable one. I guess he's trying to say like his streams are First Amendment protected, but it's not First Amendment protected to do cocaine. So like it is about
he's not being charged with hate speech, which is a real charge here in Canada.
Right. This isn't a defamation case where he's arguing First Amendment. Maybe he's confusing the Monty case. Maybe he's adding that in here. I don't know.
Okay.
What does this have to do with the Sixth Amendment?
Well, the Sixth Amendment, there's some procedural stuff, but it's a weak thing. We kind of dismissed that one.
Yeah.
When we all talked, but also the counsel thing because look, us lawyers, we spurg over law arguments all the time. We go after we can present weak arguments and strong arguments. But some of these arguments are dog shit. And that's what the lawyers on my stream put together. We're like, yeah, the Sixth Amendment argument is dog shit. Eighth Amendment, not that great. Maybe there's a little bit on the bail, because they do bail in a wonky way and you shouldn't have to give up your gun rights for bail. But other than that, the arguments are pretty weak. Other than maybe Fourth Amendment. But on the Fourth Amendment, he has a 5% chance. That's what we've all come up with. We all agree on this. 5%.
What in Barnes' mind would be a reasonable
He doesn't
search?
Believe there's a reasonable search because he believes no government search should ever exist. Okay, right? That's Barnes' point.
No,
he's committed to this. He's committed to a particular point, and he believes if you're using drugs, you should be free to use them, and the government should never be able.
So
to
if kids are being trafficked, and there's a reasonable suspicion that kids are being trafficked,
This is what really pissed me off. Is it seems like his version of America, to me, is the very definition of a demonic version of America, where those who are helpless can get no help.
It's an anarchistic version, right? It's the libertarian extreme of pretty much anarchy. So, if the kids are in trouble, well, that's just survival of the fittest, right? I mean, that's the Barnes world.
Isn't that it? I mean, that's fucking insane.
That's crazy.
And this really is exposed because I, at one time in life, would have described myself as a libertarian.
Sure, yeah, so have I at some time. So sure.
And I still have a lot of I don't know what to say, sympathy towards those views, but it's stuff like this that really, and I think that people are starting to learn, what I thought libertarianism is not what these people fucking think it is.
No,
this is sheer lawlessness. Like,
No.
how can there be law and order in a society? Like, I guess there just isn't in his version of society, right?
I mean, he advocates for essentially a very free, like almost anarcho libertarianism.
Does he believe in driver's licenses?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I don't know.
Like, I just don't know.
I mean, he might debate you on that.
Because that's the sort of shit that made me go like, whoa. Like, you don't believe that we need a license to drive?
Wait,
Like,
what? He said that?
I need permission to travel. That's one of the
Yeah.
sovereign citizen
Yeah.
arguments. It's like a crazy
Yeah.
person like Daryl Brooks, which is one of the trials, the last successful trials of Nick Rekieta, one of the last successful trials. The irony is the most successful trial will be the trial of Nick Rekieta.
It really will be. It really will be. All right. Let's finish
this off.
Let's
Yeah.
finish
Sorry.
this.
You guys got
I
such
know.
good stuff.
No,
Get me
no,
rolling.
no, dude.
Don't
You're
get me
doing
rolling,
great.
guys. Don't get me rolling.
You're actually awesome. You're
You
phenomenal.
rule, dude. You
Lots of
rule, man.
energy,
Yeah, and by the
like,
way,
coherent.
everyone go sub to him. I've been
Well,
watching your shows the last few days. They're great, dude. Like
Well,
they're
I'm not mixing alcohol, cocaine, and ketamine, so I'm doing all right.
yeah, exactly.
U.S. Constitution. Within 2 days of this case, there are major constitutional questions about the conduct of the government.
All right, calm down. But not the conduct of Nick. Not the conduct of Nick. No, he's fine.
But what
He
like,
rules.
The constitutional concerns, like, I don't.
Well,
All right,
I thought it would be a good defense, but I gave it a good faith effort, but he's come out time and time again with these bad takes, and I said, and I've discovered over the last 2 days, and once again, I'm willing to give it a fair shot. I've had people send me like 1 or 2 cases that trying to defend Nick's point of view or find a way out, and they just haven't been good. None of the objective evidence has been good. Drama and hyperbolic statements aside.
Let's look at this take from Barnes.
right.
He goes, wrong again. They found no drugs anywhere in the house in the presence of kids. They found it only in the parents' bedroom and almost all in a safe. Same with the guns. Turned out a bunch of folks jumped to false claims once again. What do you
Jesus
make of
Christ.
this defense?
It's so fucking stupid. I mean, once again, the kids are in the house. They're doing the drugs there. They're doing the drugs like at the residence where the kids are. Now, yeah, it's a big house, but hell, what we've heard, it's pretty cluttered. So probably the free space is pretty limited, right? Because the place is a fucking pigsty from what we understand from multiple documents. And we'll also be able to confirm from the body cam, by the way, guys. I want to see the state of that house.
Oh,
I want to see when they go in there, what does it look like? Is there fucking dishes everywhere? Are there flies? Are
Mold.
there, mold? Is there dirty clothes? And this is what I'm saying. Before trial, Nick Rekieta will be damned in the court of public opinion, and ultimately at the trial as well. But when that comes out, when Josh Moon and the farms get that, it's gonna be tough for old Nick.
And we're gonna do a 4-hour frame by frame pointing at every.
That's gonna be 8 hours.
I
That one's gonna be 8 hours, guys.
I want to point something out about this because Barnes has said like he's sticking strictly to legality and he's sticking strictly to looking at this through a law lens. But what sort of application to the case does the presence of kids being around the drugs even really have?
Well,
outside of the child abuse charge, like the coke is in the house, isn't it?
It's relevant to the neglect charge, so they do need to have. Like, if the kids were in another house, if they were living with, if they're actually living with the grandparents at the grandparents' house, then yeah, they can't charge them with that because the kids aren't there, right? They're not at that residence. But if they're at the residence, they're presumed to be about the residence and around the residence. And as we saw from the supplementary report, the kids were all over the house. They're in various parts of the house. Some of them were with the mom, some were not with the mom, some were very young. So you'd imagine that when, Kayla is in the K-hole or when Nick is fucking schnozzing up some Colombian booger sugar, that, they're going to be walking around and the kids are going to be there. Even if the kids aren't handing them the snort tube, that's not what's required under the law, just because they're doing it, at that residence around the kids. And mind you, this sort of behavior was documented kind of around the house. And that was documented also in some of the footage, which is kind of the footage is telling on themselves, right? Those YouTube streams and the steel toe streams were telling on themselves because we saw those were included in the actual search warrant. So this analysis falls short and it's not going to ultimately prove it. And look, once again, let's say we got rid of the neglect charge. Let's pretend we got rid of it. they've still got the drug charges. And by the way, they still have the gun charges too.
Yeah.
Right. So like you're not just because you knock out the neglect charges doesn't remove the drug charges. So, people in this case, they keep trying to knock out one charge, and maybe there's some wild theory or something that can knock out one. But I've yet to hear somebody with a theory of the case that knocks out all three claims.
Oh, and
All right,
also
let's
one
go to
thing,
the,
one
the
thing,
next go. Yeah.
real fast, and almost all in a safe. Almost.
Yes, not all of it. Not all of it.
He almost was legal. It was almost legal, guys. It wasn't fully not legal. Just gonna point that out there. All right, here we go.
Really wild.
What do we got here? What do we got here?
A cop reported that a pastor said that an unidentified preschool teacher said none of the kids are in preschool as 6 to 16 years old. That unidentified children said they were hungry and wearing the same clothes. LawTube converted that into OMG, children went to cops and said abuse. This is why fourth-hand hearsay isn't reliable or admissible. What do you think of that?
Sorry, I didn't read this one before. He said so much bullshit; it's hard to.
I know.
That's why
It's
it's so funny. Because here's the thing. This is the thing. It wasn't just the children, right? And this is the ridiculous. Well, first of all, we've gotten the supplementary report. There was not just the children telling their teacher, it was their objective observation of the children. The children were observed to be dirty, were observed to be smelly, were observed to be wearing the same clothes. So that's an objective observation. There's this whole theory that they prodded that the preschool teacher was out for Nick, and they had these leading questions and they were forcing them into it. No, five objectively observed things that went towards the children being neglected, right? Dirty clothes,
is it not
smelling,
true?
hungry.
In one of the documents, didn't the aunt of the children come forward as well?
It might have been the document. It lists them, but it's not clear exactly. It's not clear exactly what information they specifically provided. But once again, there's multiple sources here, guys. So this is not just one person. We had to be clear. In the report, the supplementary report that came out today makes that clear, that there were at least 5 people from the church, right? 5 people from the church, right? That is a significant number. It's not just 1 or 2 people. And these people are observing Nick walking out during sermons with the marks on his arms, right? Which is backed up by law enforcement, which by the way, has photos, which by the way are gonna come out of Nick's arms. And you better believe, if you think you guys zoomed in on the schnoz, right? You better believe there's going to be some zoom on those arms.
And what we saw today, all of those churches' sermons are also taped. So we can
there was some
observe.
Kayla, right? There was a little bit of Kayla looking strung out. I saw 1 or 2 photos. Yeah.
And
Was
then
April
also
there too?
Rekieta was shaking as well. It looked like uncontrollably in the pew.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds of hours of these sermons available on the YouTube channel for people to go through as well to observe. Yes.
And I'm sure the Farms is on it, I mean,
And
but
they are.
But the thing is that beyond that, this is what I asked my chat. And I said, guys, I've got people that I have Nick in my chat's very even. I have Nick stands and I have Kiwis, and I've got people who hate Nick and don't like Nick or are mixed or whatever. I've got everybody in my chat, right? And I asked my chat, we had 12,000 live viewers. And I said, how many of you think Nick looks strung out objectively on his streams over the last few months? That was my question. 96%.
Yeah.
96%. And we have the Nick defenders in my chat. 96% said he looked like objectively, right? Because in the report, we had the law enforcement looking at his streams and saying they're seeing what you guys were seeing, what you guys called out, right? What Andy called out, saying, I was on coke. That looks like me.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's not even just
that's what the cop said. That's what the cop said. He said, this looks like a guy who's on drugs.
Also, it's not even his visual, too. The way he was breathing, I'm telling you. I've been around people who've done coke. The way you could, I always say, it sounds like you're breathing through.
Andy, I'm from Miami, man. Cocaine Cowboys. I've seen this shit.
Yes, it sounds like you're breathing through a small straw. That's what it sounds like.
And I don't know if we brought this up, but the cop who did it, he brings up in his report his extensive training and expertise in this area.
15 years.
And look, yeah, okay, Nick, okay, sorry, Barnes, you can maybe knock out one thing, maybe knock out another thing, but you're literally trying to sell a theory. The teacher's against him, the pastor's against him, all of the cops are against him, right? Everybody is against Nick Rekieta.
It sounds
They're
like
against-
he's O.J. Simpson.
Well, guys, I patented if the Baldo doesn't fit, you must have quit. I was the one who was putting that out there first because you guys put O.J. Simpson, and I was like, what is this? The Baldo doesn't fit, he must have quit. But like, guys, I mean, he is not. No, he's not some sort of super sympathetic. It's not that same scenario. He's not going to get off.
Like he doesn't have the race angle, and he doesn't have the celebrity angle. Like I'm sure they'll try and push that, but he's not a household name.
And Medicare said it best. He's a mini e-celeb.
Yeah.
Mini e-celeb. Mini.
And we're like micro. And there's
micro. You're the micro peen.
Yeah, we're the micro.
Yeah.
You know? Like none of us are huge.
Yeah, you might call it the Aaron. No, I'm joking.
We're the Aaron of Cox.
I'm joking, Aaron.
Seriously, like I just
don't talk to police, Aaron.
Like, do you think, this is just a personal question, but do you think that with Rekieta's state of mind being what it is now, that he actually believes he's going to get like this OJ level defense and get away with it all?
Austin, he's losing it right now. And he's totally unpredictable. And Andy, you know this. You know, I mean, when you're in that, right? Andy,
buddy, you think?
Are you thinking rationally? Are you thinking rationally when you're there?
Look, I'll explain. When at first it's like whatever, right? Like the first few times you do it, first few weeks, maybe even months. At a certain point, a sound will be like, oh, someone's outside.
Well,
oh my God, someone will say something and you'll be like, wait, are you talking about that? And it's like you create false narratives from like sounds, even just thoughts. You'll hear someone's name and be like, no, it's weird.
Speaking of that, I wanted to go to a clip from your show. I think it was yesterday.
Oh, sure.
If we go back out into the legal mindset.
Sure.
So much has changed, guys. Like 24 hours in this case. 24 hours in this case is like a week in normal news.
Go to number 3.
Number 3, right over here, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And here we go.
All right.
The worst thing too is, and I'm going to tell you this because, guys, we'll talk about this after this, and I'm not going to dox the DMs, but I'm going to tell you something that I know right now for a fact because I'm actually just looking at it right now. Nick is flipping out right now in private. And he is, I'm watching some DMs right now. He's going fucking nuts. Nick is going nuts. And I would expect that Nick may make some statements, which you probably shouldn't make, and may go live. But I'm watching him right now live as we're speaking. I'm poking my eye over. He's going fucking crazy. And I'm also watching Nick behind the scenes right now, coping, attacking, saying that I'm going to paraphrase because I'm not going to dox the DM, but Nick is essentially saying right now, everything is bullshit. I know who reported it. They have specific animus towards me. You know, he's giving his whole story here in DMs, and this is all going to be used against him. Someone's going to turn this in. I'm in this, you know, it's like,
and
stop here.
Pause.
This is good enough because it gets repetitive here. So let me just explain this. So this is was a group DM that I was a part of, and you know, there's so many people in there. There were so many people in there. People I didn't know. People I don't know. People I know are not reliable to keep information secret. And you know, the point of the matter is that I knew this was stupid. I saw him doing it, and I'm like, why the fuck are you doing this? Why the fuck are you here? And I'm on the show, and I'm like, oh, I hope Nick pulls up. Everybody in the chat, guys, I've gotten, you know, fucking hundreds of super chats wishing Nick the best. People praying for Nick. People still loving Nick, saying, I love Nick. I want him to get better. I'm praying for him. He would get so much support if he admitted it. If he got a plea deal and he turned around, he's like, I'm going to reform my life. He would get so much love. He gets so much help, so much support. But instead, he denies, and he's fighting something somebody. He's fighting somebody tooth and nail. And it was crazy. And I knew they were going to come out. And today they came out, right? You know, I was like, I called it. I fucking called it. I'm like, they're going to come out. And
and so these
you don't
ones
do that. You don't fucking do that. And he's being unstable. And he's doing it in his locals too, by the way, guys. So this is what I'm saying. Yeah. It's not in his best interest. I'm trying to help the guy, but this is how gone he is. He cannot help himself. He cannot.
And that's where we're gonna go now. So if we go back out to the Rekieta folder and we go into the leaked DMs folder. All right. So are these the DMs that you're talking about?
Is that what was happening? Like it was these ones when you were live? Yeah.
I knew it. I called it. I was like,
you said.
I warned him, and you know what? I warned him. By the way, guys. So I'll just say. I warned him when the very first message dropped, and he continued for this entire time. And by the way, we all know he's watching. Guys, we know he watches everything about him. He reads all of his Kiwi Farms threads. He reads everything. He's reading his locals. He's paying attention. So I know he was paying attention, and he decided to continue to say things even though he shouldn't have said anything. And I knew that the people are not reliable and that somebody was going to leak. And oh, surprise, fucking surprise, somebody leaked.
Well, dude, it's like a group chat with like 30 people. Like it's going
somebody's
there's no way.
And he doesn't even know everybody in there, and he doesn't know what specific animus they may have against him, or just not like him, or frankly, just not give a fuck and be like, I'm gonna burn this shit down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But here he is saying, cool, I'm literally talking about a bullshit neglect report from a specifically vindictive person that is quite literally the opposite of truth. I'm not talking about anything else at all. I'm not saying anything else in here. Talk to me in DMs. Which again, just him saying talk to me in DMs is also incredibly
yeah.
Like could if he's talking in DMs to these people about stuff relevant to the case, can't that all be
everything can be using? No, now it definitely will because it's public, because it's all everywhere. It's at Kiwi Farms on the internet. Multiple people have done streams about it. People did streams about it this morning. I woke up to somebody DMing me, hey, you were right. And I was like, oh, I knew it. It was quicker than I thought, actually. I thought it might take a little while, but, you know, it was like, oh, yep, I knew it. I knew that. I knew the fucking leaks were going to come. Yeah. You know, 30 fucking people, right? Somebody is going to be leaking that.
I'll say one thing.
And then he says, I'm not going to say anything else in here. But then he proceeds to say more stuff.
Well, I'll say right now he's on a manic episode. If he's still using right now, like, this is a manic episode where in his mind, he's like, I can fix this. I swear I can fix it. Smash a line. All right, here's what I'll do. And then he's like, it's a manic episode. There's no logic to this episode he's having right now.
For him to characterize all of it, though, as just total bullshit. Like, who can believe that? Yeah. So we have to believe that the police and the church and everybody is coordinating against him to produce this stuff. It's a giant
government conspiracy, which is he has a locals post, which I tweeted out, which is essentially going with the government conspiracy, which leads me to believe it's the Barnes theory, and he's kind of in this corner where the only lawyer backing him is Robert Barnes, and the only streamer is Ethan Ralph, right? So that's where we're at now.
And then here he's talking about the guns, and I don't see anything here that's really incriminating per se, but just like on the face of it, he probably just shouldn't be talking about these guns, the not being discharged in his home.
He shouldn't talk about any facts of the case at all. He shouldn't be talking about it at all. Just shut the up. Like, why are you talking about any of this? Because now here's the thing. If he makes a false statement, he can be in what's called impeached, right? Yeah. So like they can impeach him. They can, and at least at minimum in trial, they can be like, well, you said here in this message that they were this, but in fact, when we found them, blah, blah, blah. Like, so this is hurting him, and he doesn't need to talk about. Why does he need to talk about this in a fucking DM with people that aren't his goddamn attorney? Unless it's your attorney, you should not be talking about it because you have no confidentiality, right?
Let's see some more of this.
He thinks
this makes me mad because
he'll fix it.
Guys, he's a fucking lawyer. Have we forgotten that law-splaining the internet? Law-splaining the internet, and he can't even fucking handle this.
Let me ask you about this before we go further in the DMs. What did you make of him waiving his right to remain silent and answering the police questions?
And guys, did you catch this? Kayla and April asked for an attorney. They did not, in the supplementary report, it does not say they asked for Nick Rekieta to be an attorney. They asked for an attorney. So my theory, I want to say, is that they didn't want Nick as their attorney. And then Nick, because Nick in the arraignment, he was like, I need to speak to my clients. And it's like, well, April was already released. And it seems to me to believe that Nick thought he was going to be their attorney and thought, they were going to say Nick is their attorney. But actually, no. No, well, they did not want Nick as their attorney.
Would you have faith in a cokehead to be your attorney? You know,
but April had
I wouldn't ask a co-defendant. He's a co-defendant.
No, it's so bad.
No, a month earlier, April had him as the attorney for a fucking speeding ticket, and he didn't show up.
He missed the hearing. Yeah. And once again, it's a speeding ticket. It's not like, Murder in the Orient, but like,
but
it's still like,
yeah.
All right, Nick Rekieta, most practicing lawyer ever. And look, listen, I'm not one to talk. I don't do a lot of formal practice anymore. I do a little bit of stuff. But that said, Nick.
So like, look at this one. My dad was helping with the driving the other day for our kids' education and extracurricular activities. He tallied it up 80 miles a day on average. Should he be saying that? Because I can just think of some problems with it right off the bat. Like, why was your dad helping with the driving? Because like that could be used to say, well, it's probably because you were on drugs.
Once again, it's another fact that's going to be, okay, is this true? Is it going to be verified? Now we're going to question your dad. Now you're putting your fucking dad on the stand, right? Like you want to drag all these people in that shouldn't be in and get everybody involved. And, he's making it more difficult.
And then he goes, I don't care what people think about almost anything, which just on the face of it, the fact he's posting this disproves that.
Yeah, it's not true. If you don't care, because I don't care about a lot of stuff. You know what I do? I don't look at it and I don't respond. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I literally don't care a lot of times. So I'm like, I don't look at it and don't respond.
He says,
or I just, or if I really don't care about it or whatever, and I don't want to see it, then I might like block it or ban it or whatever, delete it, right? Yeah. But that'd be it. Wouldn't respond. I definitely wouldn't respond.
Yeah. He says the kid shit's bullshit. I'm pretty sure I know who reported that. And they have specific animus towards me.
All five people?
The first activity I missed for my kids was the day I was in jail.
He said, once again, impeachable things. So they're going to be, Mr. Rekieta, you said the first activity you missed for your kids was a day in jail. Well, what about activities that happened while you were at the casino with April and these are questions he's going to have to ask on the stand. He's put on the stand. The attorney, he's opening himself up to questions. And even if he can answer them, he's now got to answer more questions. He's making his defense more difficult. A lawyer should know better than this. A lawyer should know better than just blabbing off about case details to somebody that's not also a lawyer. So I think it's the hubris. It's hubris and also addiction.
I also going to ask you before we go to the next set. Okay, but actually, let's do this first.
Sure.
He says, shockingly not pulled over. No cited for a DUI.
Shockingly.
He was shockingly not pulled over. Is that not a really, really bad thing to say?
That's almost a confession.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shockingly.
He goes, never even questioned for DUI.
All
ever.
right.
Yeah.
Well, shouldn't that just be assumed?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says, anyway, whatever issues exist for me, and I'm not admitting to shit during my case, obviously, I figured a friend of mine would maybe realize that my children have never been neglected or in danger. And he gets indignant. But I guess that small courtesy is too much.
Oh, buddy. Yeah. Well, friends should assume that considering who you are, but now...
Well, once again, friends, but the thing is, when friends are starting to get information, both public and private, because understand, guys, we have the public information, and also a lot of people have private information, and a lot of that private information is not out there, and that's fair, right? And if somebody has private information, they go, people are telling me that these facts are true, and this is true, and that's true, at a certain point, you need to say, "Hey, Nick, not cool." You're not a friend by enabling, right?
No,
This is the Nick defender, the quote unquote nose guard point is you're a bad friend for
Can't-
calling out a friend. No,
no,
if
but
you're
let's
somebody
be
who's
real.
watching your friend
Are
die, that's a
these-
horrible friend.
Are
Yeah.
these friends or are they business associates?
Yeah.
Not even
Because
business. Not
they're
even
not-
business. They're like leeches on the side
Yeah.
of a dying shark,
No,
like the little
seriously.
lamprey
I want
on the
some
side of a
Because
dying shark.
these people weren't at Nick's house every day. They don't know how he lives his life. They actually know basically nothing about him other than what
Right.
everybody else on the internet knows. So to characterize and guilt trip them as though they're his real life friends that he goes golfing with every Tuesday and he goes bowling with on Thursday and goes for a beer every Friday, like it's bullshit. It's just not so. And
It's not true.
And it's not true. It's not true. And that's like, it's just wild to me.
Friends. It's like saying
They're-
like that
yeah,
your
even-
buddies you
even-
talk
well,
to
even
like
Nick-
once in a
Nick said it. It's funny. Nick is trying to use a friendship argument when he said something along the lines of "There's no friends on the internet." Well, I know
Medicare said that, and he
like, Nick
repeated
is-
it. Yeah.
There's the E-Daddy situation there, and that's really come with like Nick's feelings for Medicare and Nick's feelings for Dick Masterson, and that's some part. By the way, it's part of the lore I've kind of learned from listening to people, including you guys in other areas, because I wasn't around for that era, right? I was not like in the game, so now I'm figuring, oh yeah, this is why he got in a fight with Monograph because he was trying to, do something, for Medicare, and trying to make his own lawsuit. Oh, I get it now.
It all
Right?
adds
I didn't
up.
understand
the
that at the
lore,
time.
right? The lore goes really, really deep.
And I didn't learn it. I haven't know. I honestly, until the last couple months, I didn't even know the lore, and now I'm caught up. So now
Yeah.
I'm doing
Nice.
better.
It must have been a lot to take in one like whoa, what?
The Baldo goes deep. As
It
they say.
goes
The Baldo goes
very,
deep.
very deep, right?
All right, let's go to the next slide here. That one really is just so slimy to me, though. He goes, "Is that so?" Somebody in the group chat says, "Is that driving blasted out of your mind, like the report says?" And he says, "No, you fucking idiot. No one sees me drive."
What? What do you mean? If you drop off
And then-
kids to the
and then-
school or to
You gotta
church,
drive there. Like, I mean, I don't know.
You know?
This part I'm a little confused about, but like, yeah, obviously, if you're driving a kid to school, then you're driving.
he said
But
it,
if you're driving to church, right?
Right.
And then you like the people at church, some of them are like mingling in the parking lot outside.
Yeah.
They'll see you driving in.
you stumble
Also,
walking out
like-
and shit. Like,
Yeah, I mean, come on. And then they go, I know it's hard to see someone when they're driving 88 miles per hour 4 hours after a bender.
And that was a speeding ticket, right? Because he got a speeding ticket.
And he goes, again, what the are you talking about? Are you referring to a speeding ticket?
wait, hang on.
Yeah,
He said a story
yes.
we covered in December where he bought a new car and had his kid in the car and he like drove super fast over black ice. Remember that, Ash?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he crash it?
Yeah, and he crashed
Yeah.
it and fucking totaled the car. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's not like it's not your first rodeo
And
there.
Many times he's told us stories of, I was only on a few hours sleep and I was driving my kids here. Or I was really tired.
And that says something to the state of the household and the chaos of the household. Clearly, it's not well-orchestrated household. And as you guys have pointed out, a lot of the people pointed out, the guy made so much fucking money off of the Amber Heard trial, off of Rittenhouse, off
dirty
of other
money,
stuff,
yeah.
off his Daryl Brooks trial coverage, off his locals. He has made so much money. He would have more than enough to hire a real maid or nanny, right? Hire one full-time.
Snapping the
have somebody
fingers.
clean
Boom.
there, have clean there, have people delivering food. I've got food delivery. I used to get food delivery in the U.S. all the time, where they deliver prepackaged meals. You just have to put in and heat up. You could feed your kids and clean your house. That's not a difficult thing in America in 2024.
No.
Especially when you have the funds of Nick Rekieta.
And this guy says, do you know, so Rekieta goes, do you know what track marks are? I've never done an IV drug in my life. And then he just gets felted here. You're doing cocaine at 8 a.m. with your kids watching cartoons in the living room.
Wow.
That's just
That's
You know?
dark. That's twisted, dude.
And then the way he disputes this is wild. What the are you talking about? 8 a.m.? Homie, I'm usually driving home at 8 a.m. and
Driving
about to go to
home.
sleep.
Well, that's even worse because what he's saying is he's done these streams. In these streams we see the late night streams where he's drunk and he's
Blacked.
clearly now we have the allegations that he is using cocaine and alcohol and possibly even ketamine or ecstasy or whatever else the brown substance is. During these streams, and then he's going to drive after that. Imagine if he drove after Dear John or if he drove after the pill.
That's basically what
Imagine
he's
that.
admitting to. Because those streams go to 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Sometimes,
he's implying it.
Yeah, he's implying that. And that's fucking wild, man.
I'm sorry to interrupt, by the way. We said we'd bring Alex soon.
Yep,
I'm just
he'll
going to use the bathroom real quick. So you guys just keep... I have the next slide up. I'll be back in 1 second.
He goes, if you think my kids ever went hungry or were neglected, kill yourself. I just don't understand how he has the sand, how he has the balls to be this aggressive about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, who is he? How is he in any position to tell people this shit?
I just, it's insane that a man who has criminal charges against a felony against him would feel the need to defend himself like this and go through his case details. It's insane. It's not even the brain of a normal person. Forget a lawyer. Forget his law degree and his law splaining. This isn't a normal person. A normal person would know better than to talk about this shit. Normal human being, rational human being. You
know what my theory is about this? And I think it's really sad.
It is. This is fucking sad. This is really sad.
I think that he cares more about the opinions of people on the internet and looking good in the eyes of the internet and having all these creators suck his than he cares about his own freedom, than he cares about his own kids or about anything else in his life. Like the e-fame that he has and being seen as a respectable law tuber is more important to him than all of that. And that's the only reasonable explanation I can come up with as to why he's fucking doing this. And it's like heavy, man.
And look, and he says he's under stress, right? You know, he says he's under stress from the police report. Under stress from the kids. He's also under stress from reading all of Kiwi Farms, which we know he's doing. He's also under stress, by the way, in the new police report. It talks about his declining financials, right? It talks about the downward spiral, and now that's relevant. Now his playboard, right? His YouTube statistics are going to come in court because they've introduced that as a potential evidence. Hey, look, this is a trajectory, right? This is where he was going. This is that could, right? It could come in. They could say, hey, look, here's his channel. Here's what he was doing before. And now he's kind of putzing along. He's got a bunch of people in the chat that are making fun of him. No one's supporting anymore, right? Because they all see. And by the way, the crazy thing is, Ashton, is that the people that knock on Nick the most, the people that really go for Nick are the people that loved Nick.
Yeah.
They're the people that fucking love Nick. They were there for Nick. Look at my good friend Dragon's Treasure T, right? Trying to get a video.
I know that guy. Yeah, I watched his video.
Treasure. He's a really good guy. He's a genuinely good guy. He loved Nick, and now
he was so sad, bro. He was
disgusted,
devastated. Yeah, he started with the tea that he sent into Nick, and then a month later, Nick. So it's like he had this and he was just he sounded like he was heartbroken.
Tea. He still got to stick up. Go buy Dragon's Treasure Tea. He's still based. He's making good stuff.
Man.
But that said, I'll send for my friend's store. But that said, people are pissed because they loved him and he fucking betrayed them.
That's what they say. The saying is, in order to truly hate, you must have loved. Yep. In order to have that real deep hate, and that real deep sense of betrayal,
and I'm communicating what they feel. Look, during my streams, I try to take all the emotion out of it. I try to take all of that out of it. I try to do legal analysis, but it's hard. It's hard because obviously we're all human. I'm a human too. You know, as much as I hate the excessive moral on the left or on the right, right?
Yeah.
I or on the Nick, pro Nick or anti Nick. When it gets excessive, I'm like, guys, cut that shit out. And even in my chat, I said, guys, you got to stop this. It's too much. But there's a point at which you cannot be moved by this. And like you said, that the girl tugging on the police officer.
The way
let me tell you something. This is what I said to somebody privately. I said, if there ever was a day to moral, today is that day. Do you know? Like, if there ever was a time, and by the way, I think that term is fucking bullshit because,
Well,
like,
look,
I actually have morals. You know what I mean? Or like most people in the world have morals.
But
idea of like this is like
that's fair. That's fair. Look, it's fair, Ashton. But I'll just say this: there is a time at which we have to at least separate. Say, okay, morally, Nick can be bad, but honestly, guys, if I saw a legal way that Nick could get out of this or a way, I would say it. And I would say, look, Nick may get out of this. But I'm not saying Nick is innocent in the eyes of the court of public opinion. He's innocent in the world. He's innocent under God, right? None of that is true. He could be very guilty, very condemnable, and still he could technically win. Because otherwise you get into this area of, oh, well, this is a righteous cause and we're obviously going to win, and you're not as careful. And I think that we need to do this carefully. We need to do this evidence-based. And the only people doing that are the freaking Kiwi Farms producing documents against Nick.
Yeah, okay. We just got actually a tweet from Josh that I think is kind of relevant to all of this. Did we get through all those DMs? Do we know which one?
Yeah,
that's most of it. That's most of it.
Okay.
By the way, the only thing I want to say is the one thing I want to clear up on the DMs real quick, just to make it clear. It was decisively not Yellow Flash because, and this was put out, you can see Gators, of all people, Gator proved that this wasn't, because if you are the one to send it, it would be a different color.
Yeah.
Right. So neither one of those was blue. There was no blue text. So it was somebody who was not Nick or what is presumably Yellow Flash, right? So so it's not either one of those folks, right?
Okay.
So
and then we'll get I spoke to Alex too. He said no rush, but but you could
we can bring him on whenever, because
let's bring him on. Yeah.
I'm not even sure how long he'll stay.
But Andrew, you're fantastic, man. You've been great.
I've got about another 30 minutes, so
beautiful.
Whatever we do 30 minutes cool. Okay. I'll stay for Alex, but about 9:30 p.m.
Amazing. Yeah.
Alex, did you catch my little bit at the end of my last stream?
I've seen the clips. Remind me what it was. You said Aaron to stop going on so many shows. That's what I agreed with you on.
So today, Alex, and I wanted to ask you this question. So let's come out of the gate swinging. I was always told that the relationship between April and Nick was going through 2023, but someone linked me to your Simpcast that you were on, in the Simpcast number 54 in December 11th of 2022, where you were talking about Elijah Schaefer. Nick was mad about that. And then you talked about Steel Toe. April was mad about that. And I think there was a comment made for April and Nick to DM each other at the end. There was some sort of, comment they made there. And I'm like, man, it all kind of connects together there in this big circle. It's really weird how that happens.
Well, it gets darker than that. But yeah, I was there. And you could tell that there was like sexual chemistry because Nick, for what he was a great analyst, right? But, he's devolved into like kind of like the baldo, the sexual content, that kind of takes you over. It's like that guy that was describing, that paranormal expert that was describing the Sonichu medallion. It made me laugh so much, but
that was funny.
But he did have some points though. And I had a friend on my show that watched the show and he has no idea who Nick Rekieta is. And he said the same thing, that there's demons. There's like sexual demons on him right now. And, he can recover from that, but something's really going on with that, but his energy's weird. April was going to a hunting camp or hunting lease or something for months. So Aaron has no idea when the relationship really got hot and heavy. That's the real truth, if you guys didn't know that.
No, that's what I was suspecting. Exactly right, Alex. I was suspecting that this has been going on probably longer, and at the very least the seeds were being planted for a longer period of time than even we're thinking right now.
Let's be real. I think Andy and Ashton have said this. I mean, Aaron was the odd man out, but let's be real too. And I'm not going Robert Barnes. I'm not nose guarding, but this, in a way, and Ashton and Andy, you guys can grill me with this. Nick is kind of being railroaded by his in-laws. Now, he chose to go to this church. He chose to be, associated with all these people. But you can tell and I'm just speculating this, and I actually do wish the best for Nick, but obviously there's some family jealousy probably. They probably don't like that Nick is a streamer, has the Mustang, lives a debauchery lifestyle, going to the casino, having a polyamorous relationship in front of 5 kids. Like, they could see that. These are, church-going people. They're not whacked out on crack. So I think that he is getting railroaded. Like, they probably did tell on him because the kids were in bad shape, and obviously he was right. All of their intuition was right. But I do think he's right that there is kind of a conspiracy against him, believe it or not. I really do kind of think that.
Listen, this is what he did, though. I mean, he signed up to be a father of 5 kids.
Yeah.
He signed up for a traditional lifestyle. He signed up for the church. And when it comes to these decisions in life, there are no refunds. Like, you can't just magically wake up one day. There are a lot of guys in marriages that, like, it's monotonous, like the boredom sets in, I'm sure. But you're an adult man. You're a grown-ass man in your 40s. You're also an educated man. And you're somebody that took an active role in the church. You know, he was a teacher at Bible study.
He got fired. He got fired from that.
When you take on these roles and then you start snorting cocaine and becoming an open alcoholic on live stream, you can't be surprised when there's consequences for that.
Yeah.
And there should be consequences. And a lot of viewers of your program on The Blaze are like every Sunday Christians, socially conservative. And to those sort of people, that lifestyle that he's trying to promote is anathema, and it is the antithesis of everything that they stand for and promote. So I'm sorry, but I just have I have no sympathy.
Also,
None. I could tell none.
I think Nick's audience used to be that, guys, because I was in that chat. I was paying attention.
they were.
I think the majority of Nick's audience, coming out of Kyle Rittenhouse, right? I think most people were pretty of the conservative brand, right? They were pretty traditional conservative tradcon people. This was not a super libertarian chat, right? It became that. It became the sexcapades. It became that as the substance abuse was becoming more clear.
When Nick first started, he didn't even swear on live stream.
Correct.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's not even like, by the way, it's not even like he did like a bump at the bar or got blackout drunk one time. No, this is like daily waking up, railing lines.
If Rekieta went on a trip to Las Vegas and he was caught in a suite with coke, I would have a lot more sympathy than what we saw.
I tried partying
you
one
know
weekend
what I mean?
And got
He's
fucked.
like, I wanted to blow off some steam and party. That's different than a habitual life of drug use that impacted his children to the point that they were hungry and stinky.
You're right about that.
I would even be more sympathetic if it was a one-off where the stress got to him. He went out, he got really high, and he wrecked the Mustang. And he says, "I'm so sorry, I did it. I'm so stressed. It built up. I'm taking a hiatus." Something like that. I'd be more sympathetic. I think a lot of people would, right? Because they realize he's under a lot of pressure. He's got 5 kids in America. Jesus, I can't imagine the cost, the pressure. That is a lot, right? It is a lot. But the way he's going, denying that it's anything but specific animus, right? It's insane. And now it's a government conspiracy. I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a government conspiracy. Like, I don't think the halls of power tremble before the might of his Baldo and his booze. Is the craziest
I have to cut you off. Ashton, what are the chances that he was on a live stream still talking shit about the judge that he's going to face in this new trial? Like, what a dumb I mean, you couldn't write that. But unless you live in Minnesota, St. Cloud, or whatever the hell, Spicer, Minnesota. I mean, how does that happen? He's totally fucked. He has. Andrew, will he be able to get a different judge? Will he be able to say there's a conflict of interest?
Here's the thing, Alex, is that, and I said this earlier, is that he was the one who chose to talk about alcohol squirting out of the judge's vagina. He made that choice. And the thing is, Alex, if you can disqualify a judge by saying something nasty about it, well, you'd be pretty good, Alex, because you could just go out there and say crazy things about everybody, right? And then you just disqualify everybody. Say every liberal judge, say something crazy about him, and you get the right judge, right? Or you get a judge that likes you, right? You can't do that. You can't, through your own actions, disqualify judges, right? Bias is based on their actions. And we don't yet have proof that this judge is biased in not applying the law.
He's toast. But I think I still don't think he'll go to jail because he's a first-time offender. He might have to do a little time or something, but I think he'll be on a. But I'm saying he'll be on a very strict probation. That I think if from his text messages that I've seen, he's saying that he threw away alcohol. I don't believe it. I don't think anybody that's that abusing alcohol that hard can just turn it off overnight without a medical rehab, without you actually going and getting like Valium or something, because that's how they do it. They they have a medical detox. He's not had that yet.
To further solidify what you're saying, Alex, what we've come to find, if we go to Josh Moon's Twitter, is that Rekieta got the bond where he doesn't have to do drug tests and where he can still drink.
Is that true? Because I'm in the bond business, and you can get bonded out. You don't have to follow all of the restrictions, but I still feel like if the judge says you can't drink and stuff, I still don't think that he's allowed to violate that.
Let's hear it.
Alex, it's a very specific thing. It's weird. Minnesota's weird about this. They're one of the very odd states, and I'm not a Minnesota attorney, but it's explained to me by people that are Minnesota attorneys that it's an or. So if you pay the cash bail.
Yes, I understand. There's no restrictions.
If
no check-in. Yeah.
If you don't, then you get all the restrictions, including drug testing. And the big thing is, the reason why they probably do that, Alex, is because of the Second Amendment. They take away your guns. So it would probably be an Eighth Amendment violation, i.e. an excessive bail, to take away your guns if they force that as a condition no matter what. And because of that, they make it an or. They give you the option, right?
Do you know who
But you're
did?
sure that he bonded both of them out and did not agree to this?
No, Alex. The wife didn't get bonded out that way.
So she still has the stipulations.
Whoa.
No, what a dirtbag. You gotta be kidding me.
What a scumbag. Is there trouble
gonna
in
get her in
paradise?
Yeah, she's gonna pee dirty. They don't have any sympathy for a probation violation like that.
No.
I mean, they're not gonna, even for alcohol.
How's
busted.
she gonna get off the pills?
She had a gummy brought to the jail.
Yeah.
I mean, so she's really smoking crack. I mean, what the hell?
She had the cop bringing it in. By the way, a quartering
by the way,
saddle by the
it was-
footage.
by the way-
prison or
By the
jail.
way, the only I do believe that was probably cannabis, but so that's probably why they let that one slide. It didn't add that to the evidence list.
Fair,
Because cannabis in Minnesota, cannabis is specifically excluded, so it's
It
totally.
is recreational in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, then
it's all
that's fine. But still, I mean, she's what kind of mom's all strung out on weed gummies? You know, bringing them in. I mean, you know, like. And listen, you guys said it. And Nick has some stress and stuff, but guys, it's gone. And Nick, if you're watching this, I really want you to. I don't even hate you, but it's gone too far. Like, he's abusing alcohol and abusing drugs.
I'm going to tell you, when he finally comes back in streams, which is going to probably be any day now. I know that's
Soon.
a really bad idea, but I think he'll try and flex that his kids aren't there as a good thing, that he won, because they're not a burden to him anymore. And when he says that, that's going to be that's really going to be
And you've been right about everything so far.
I think
So.
that's
American Beauty. It's American Beauty.
I think that's his.
He
fucking
loves that
mindset.
movie. That's so weird. Dude, that is so bizarre. Dude, I've never even watched that movie all the way through. And the fact that he's watched it that much is...
He loves it.
Says something.
Favorite
He
film.
loves it. But Andrew, I got to bring up this one point. You talk about the first time they met, and I asked him about hedonism. What's sad is that all the A-logs were right this whole time. That he was a wife swapper. I mean, it's funny how he tried to play it off. Because I asked him, and he said, "Well, every rumor on the internet's true, Alex." And it's like, well, I guess that's revelation of the method, because they were all true. It's ridiculous.
And it's just he told on himself for most of them. That's the crazy thing, Alex. Like, it's through his own actions that he outed himself. He was just so sloppy, so careless. And at the same time, I know why. I mean, his wife was probably enraged with him because he's making her look bad stream after stream, time after time, publicly. Mandy, right? And not only that, but other women just absolutely. It was
He got
disgraceful.
catfished by a guy. Think about that. He's jerking it to some dude online. And he's supposed to be some smart attorney, you know. And
Alex,
he's
have
getting
you seen his
catfished?
nanny? Did you see the nanny that Legal Mindset showed?
No,
Well,
I was
by the
watching. I
way,
didn't see.
to be fair, I got
You
that
don't
from
know.
I got that from the farms. You know, it's speculative.
Is she
but-
hot or what? What's
Yeah!
the deal?
Yeah!
Oh, of course. Wait. But when we come to Kayla, what is she like? Because it sounds like she's on drugs, but I don't really know much about her because, like, Lady Rackets, you know, I'm only know so much lore.
So,
You
How
guys
does
get
she
more- yeah,
figure?
right, Action, Andy, you got it.
I mean, Lady Rackets was always kind of manic when she came on. Like, she always had a really manic energy about her, and she was kind of like bug-eyed and shit. And she would say stuff all the time that would be really embarrassing to Nick. Like when she told the story. Have you heard this story of the massage therapist?
Oh, it's nuts.
No, wait,
So,
what?
okay.
It's on video, by the way.
Oh,
real.
This is Laura. I don't even know the massage therapist.
This is
The
crazy.
massage therapist. So she went to a massage therapist who asked, "Do you want your chest massaged?" And she said yes. So he just starts grabbing her tits, like going at it, right? And she's like, says she's embarrassed, whatever. But then she actually went back to him and had it done again. And she told this
Said it on
story.
Nick's show.
right in front of her husband, and Nick looked like his spirit wanted to leave his fucking body as she's telling this fucking story. And like, it was bad.
She does that to plant the seeds, though, because she wanted to probably start swinging. But you know what's really sick in this, and that's why I really liked what you did by telling him to slow down on the interviews. But you know, what blows my mind though is that Kayla Rackets and Steel Toe, I keep forgetting his name.
Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron. No, I know Aaron, but I just keep forgetting him because there's so many different names. Nick, Vic, Steel, because we got to get into Vic.
Yeah.
But he's acting like him and Kayla had some great relationship. Like that cannot be real, right? That I wanted to call him out.
Well, Molly will make you feel like you're in love.
Yeah, Molly. It could be Molly. Molly.
Shit.
That's a fair. Molly is a fair theory. That's a fair
I
one.
think this is what really was going on. She was like manipulating him, making him feel like she was in love with him, so that Rekieta could his wife. That's what it was. She was doing a solid for her man so that he could live out his fantasy of this younger woman, because she was like so cuck queen, like mind broken, that she thought that was best. And whose idea was it originally to open this marriage? Who knows? Traditionally, like, you know, what we hear is that it's a woman's idea to open the marriage because they have a lot more opportunity. But in this circumstance, maybe it was Rekieta's idea to open it because he has money and he has fame, or it could have been a mutual decision. Now, it also could have been, you know, Nick talks about how he had the worst day of his life. And people hypothesize about what is that? Could it have been the day she came to him and said, I want an open marriage? I don't know.
May I say one thing? From meeting her IRL, she was, and this is before all the swinging and all that stuff, she was very flirty.
Yes, I did meet her.
Yeah, she was flirty with you at the bar.
Yeah.
Buddy. And the thing is,
with a lot of people, not just me. Like,
but Worski, the biggest thing is, I saw the difference. I met her in person. That's all she looked. He looks like a skeleton compared to what she looked like at Anime Missouri 2 years ago when I met her. She looks just absolutely different. I mean, that's a different woman.
Well, before you go, I want to get into a little Vic lore, because I didn't realize this, and this is what Vic was complaining to me about, and I learned this after the fact, or I guess just when he told me, is that Ty Barnes was an attorney that they raised $250,000 that Nick raised. Ty Beard. And Vic said he never saw one dime of that money. It went all to the attorney. And when he lost and he had to pay, you know, now he has to pay restitution, pay their court fees because there's anti-slap laws, which, Andrew, if you're a real attorney, a defamation, I've tried to do defamation cases. They're almost impossible. They're so stupid. And an anti-slap, they tell you that's the first day of law school stuff, that if you do this, you're going to be more than likely liable for their legal fees. That's the whole point of the anti-slap. And they didn't save any of that GoFundMe money to pay for their legal fees, possibly. So it's just insane how much he could have got double ripped off in this situation.
It was bungled big time. Bungled big time. That was because of Nick, because Nick was like, this is my legal strategy. Nick pushed that. And what I'm seeing now, Alex said it earlier, is Robert Barnes is pulling the Nick Vic thing on Nick, right? The karma has come around. Robert Barnes wants him to go through this constitutional challenge and go libertarianism for the win and take this all the way up to SCOTUS, right? That's what Robert Barnes wants, which is a multi-million-dollar loser, right? That's exactly the losing path that Barnes would have him follow down. So perhaps it's karma.
Yeah, but all attorneys represent clients they know that are guilty. So, I mean, he's just, you know, he knows. Robert Barnes knows, guys. I know he's out there. He's trying to do Constitution. He knows that that wasn't fake cocaine. He knows that wasn't fake ketamine when it comes up purple on the test with the, you know, the district attorney's office. Like, he knows that wasn't planted on him. Even if everything else is a conspiracy, the drugs were there. The kids had stinky clothes. The kids didn't know how to eat spaghetti.
You don't understand it was the pastor that planted the coke on Rekieta.
Here's the problem is you recognize the bullshit. There's thousands of people that are buying the bullshit.
This is the problem. There is an active audience of people. Well, they're good people and they're honest people. the salt of the earth, and they're the conservative movement, and they're the people that vote for Trump, and they're the people that when the emails come for money from Trump, and most of us like laugh at it, go, oh, I'll give him $10 or whatever. These are the people
That's a good description.
These are the people that are like, I want to fight the fucking fight. I hate Biden. I hate the left. I hate socialists. I hate the deep state. And I want to support our guys. And they view this as our guys and our fight, and they're just being blindly grifted, and it's fucking shameful.
But
It's ultimately the responsibility of honest conservatives to, when a grift is this shameless, to call it the out.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But he is closer under these facts, presuming these facts to be true. Let's assume they're all true. He is far closer to a crazy, strung out, woke leftist that is an absolute fucking shambles than a traditional conservative, right? The life he is living, according to the police, is much closer to the left than it is to the right.
Well, you know what the craziest thing about all this is, though? If Nick would get sober, this could all be a good thing. It's like Robert Downey Jr. You know, people will forget about it. They'll be like, what a champion. He was a crackhead and now he's a sober father. But I don't think he's going to do that, because I've never maybe made millions of dollars streaming, right? But I've never also, and I've partied and stuff, but when you're buying 26 grams of cocaine and you're having measuring and tools, you're not just using it recreationally. So unless he gets off that, his life is going to only have more jail, more stuff. But if he gets off it, he could come back big time, sadly. I mean, not sadly, good for him. But
a lot of these celebrities have teams that come in and sit them down, and they're like, you got to figure this the out.
Yeah.
Because it's their gravy train too. And they're like, we got to get you sober. And there's a PR guy who's running point, that's on point. And they get them in rehab right away. And they get like the best lawyer for their circumstance. That's not what's going on here. The people close to Rekieta don't want what's best for him, or at least the people he's going to listen to don't give a shit. Like Dick Masterson doesn't give a shit if he gets clean. In fact, it's to his benefit. It's more content for him if he doesn't get fucking clean. If he just ruins his whole fucking life. It's drama. And for LawTube as well, they're going to make tons of money. Everybody's going to make money.
I don't want to be covered. Honestly, I'm making money off this, right? Full confession. But at the same time, this is not exactly what I wanted to do, right? I just wanted to talk about, anime and VTubers and Disney and shit. Like, that's what I was fucking covering before. And I was happy off in my own sphere. Yeah. I was dragged back because I was the only one being fucking objective. Everybody else was up in their feelings, either literally just riding the baldo or absolutely hating Nick without any facts or figures, right? So like it was you needed to have objective coverage, which is why I came.
Let me ask you one last thing, Legal Mindset.
Sure,
Rekieta said that going to rehab would make him look more guilty, and that you don't know how the criminal justice system works if you want him to go to rehab. What do you make of that?
He's fucking nuts. He's fucking nuts. Okay, take the plea deal, go to rehab. Forget about any of the legal consequences. As a person, Nick needs it. As a person,
fix your life.
Substance abuse. Yes, for his family, for his kids. Fuck the law as it applies to Nick Rekieta is one thing. For his whole life, he will be better if he goes to rehab. But the first thing is the hardest thing for Nick. Accept that he made a mistake.
And that's where
real quick, how long do you think Nick has been using, though? Like, when do you, if you just had to guess, because he's been abusing alcohol forever, right, on stream?
Minimum 6 months. Minimum is 6 months.
I'd say
longer,
almost
than that.
2 years.
No. I'm being on the conservative side.
Maybe not, but I mean,
I put it at when he started losing the weight, which was about a year ago.
According to the police reports, they put it since the top of the year. So they put it at the top of the year. So the police have said that. So that's then the mandatory reporter has said that. So if we can push it back further, maybe because we have more photographic evidence of him, and we probably have seen more videos of it, right?
And maybe it is that at first it was just on the weekends or once in a blue moon. And then it got worse and worse and worse and worse. And based on what Aaron said, as much of a cock and a loser and a fucking bum as he is, it seems like it got even worse in the last 6 weeks or so, to the point where even he was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. And he's just a shameless clout chasing bum. and then it got even worse after the
It
stream
escalates.
about Monty.
It
and it's
escalates,
escalated
Yeah,
so
the Monograph
quickly.
lawsuit, and I'm friends with Monograph. That's why he's never really liked me, is because I've been friends with Vic, and I've always been friends with Monograph. When I first started streaming, Monograph used to like have me on and share my stream, and so that's why Nick, and that's the real reason why he never liked me, is because I'm friends with Monograph. But the hedonism thing, I bet, I mean, I'm just speculating this, he was doing blow at hedonism.
Yeah.
So whenever he went on that trip, he was doing blow there. I mean,
well,
I think
I think
that's
he
easy to guess.
called it-
right. Like,
Yeah,
like
he-
how it's like, you know, you go there, you fucking do a few lines, and you party, come back, take 2 weeks
talked
off.
about
do a
having he talked
line.
about the good stuff there, and he's like,
Yeah.
you don't even know. And I'm
He
like,
said it was a
Yeah.
very legal
No,
vacation.
no,
Yeah.
Very legal.
And then it increased,
So he's been
increased,
doing it
increased. Yeah.
since then,
Yeah.
whenever that time frame was.
I would say those 6 months would be like the everyday fucking partying every single day and like
when
you know,
it lines
losing
up
weight
with
and
the when
stuff.
the April and Aaron were in his house, so when it really got crazy, when it really picked up, when it really was a rock and roll, you know, we got
Yeah.
the throuple activated, you know, we're doing everything. So I think that's when we saw, and it tracks with us. Everybody who's watched him, I mean, that's around the time when I started distancing myself from him 6 to 8 months ago when I said, I'm done. You know, Nick is just going on these streams and he's saying stuff. He has no control. You know, things that people would tell him not to say, he would just say in public. He's slurring words. He's doing Dear John. I mean, you know, the observer, like you guys said, the casual observer, even you guys, you know, over there, you know, high in Jamaica with Josh Moon, you guys can see that. You guys can see that observation. Sorry, the image of you guys smoking with Josh Moon in Jamaica.
I would love for it to happen.
Yeah.
One more for you from chat. I thought it was a good
one
question.
more. Okay.
They asked, "What do you think about Rekieta's own lawyer in the Montegraph trial, commenting that he needs to get help?"
I have said this before. This is my personal opinion, right? It's not my whatever a legal opinion. I would personally drop him immediately for tweeting out that Nick is an addict publicly. That was the implication. Mark Randazza, his attorney in the Montegraph case, literally tweeted out that Nick needs help and he is addicted, right?
When did he tweet that? Roger got arrested
3 days
right
ago?
after?
Last week.
He tweeted it out. Yeah,
Wow, what a
last
bad
week,
attorney to immediately tweet that. I mean, you're right.
He is,
That's
Rekieta bragged he was the best defamation lawyer in America. He charges the most per hour, and even that guy,
that means they're the best.
as much money as he was making off Rekieta, he felt like he couldn't stay quiet about that.
Oh.
But there's nothing wrong here, guys.
He better
Nothing
settle with
he can do.
Monograph real quick. He's going to need to divert those funds.
But then
over
he's
to
admitting that he's wrong, which is the main thing. And he said like he has oppositional defiance disorder.
Well,
Like in the past, he's talked about that, which is fucking wild.
that's going to bankrupt him, and that's going to send him into the ground.
Well, you know who really is not innocent in all this, who I really think kind of started it all, is April and Molt. You know, the reason why she went with
Vixen.
Steel Toe.
That harlot.
No. But I'm saying is she likes Steel Toe's, you know, show with 500 listeners or whatever. You know, she's like, oh, this is really cool. Oh my God, he has a microphone. Is that a webcam? You know, she's like, wants to do it all, right? And then if you ever watched her maturation on the show, she would start to become his personality, because Aaron's a lot like Anthony Cumia. If you listen to him, he's like kind of does Anthony
He's a
Cumia.
hack.
Yeah, I'm saying
voice
basically,
off.
His voice, if you shut your eyes,
he's
you
doing
hear.
a Cumia impression. He's very Cumia-esque. And she would start to copy him, because there's videos where he'd like trash me, and then she's like saying the same stuff as him. And I talked to Aaron, and he said this, that April starts to take other people's personalities. So all of a sudden, Nick had this girl that's like kissing his ass. She's sick of her husband who says that can't make her come. I mean, that was her words, not mine. You know, she said that. Yeah, that's not mine. And so now this guy, and listen, Nick's not much better. He's popping Viagra's. Can't, you know, I mean, he can barely get it up according to Aaron. But my point is, he was probably like, oh gosh, this is nice. This young girl's like, you know, liking me, and she's probably just wants to do blow. Like for him, I think April was his weak spot. They should have never got together, and I think a lot of this would not have happened if I'm just speaking, you know, how I feel. That he had this April girl in Minnesota where there's no girls, there's no people there. That's why they swing. That's why they go to the pleasure pit. That's why they're using glory
The
holes
sodomy
or whatever.
barn.
Pleasure
The sodomy
palace.
barn. That's what it's a pleasure palace. Whatever.
I think
It's because
legal-
he's in the middle of nowhere
Yeah,
with
I
one
gotta-
strip
I
club
I
that they
think
go
he's
to.
signaling he's got to go.
Guys, legal
I gotta go.
Appreciate your
Hey,
time.
listen.
You were
Appreciate
great,
you.
Andrew,
Thank you for
man.
that. Thank you for bringing me on, Alex.
Stay
Good
in
to talk
touch.
with you. Hopefully, we can talk another time.
We'd love to have you on
thank
Yeah,
again.
man. Stay in touch, man. Have a nice night.
What Rekieta's done, I think, is actually crazier than anything Ralph's done.
Wait, hey, real
Is it
fast,
though?
real
Because
fast,
Ralph let Pantsu get banged by a Mexican dude. I mean, that
that's
was
true.
pretty bad.
Bareback
That's
in the
true,
air.
Alex.
Wait, real fast.
And then
though.
there's a video of them smoking meth. There's literally a video
Yes.
on the internet and I've seen that video, and it blows my mind. And then he's giving it to Pantsu. He's like, "You want to hit it?" There's
Wait a
literally
minute,
smoking
Alex.
methamphetamine.
He smoked weed and blew it on his baby's face on video.
What a world we're in when I became the gun guard for but a moment, and Alex just restored sanity to the situation. Give us the reminder of what a scumbag he truly is.
And I like Ethan, honestly. I don't hate him. I don't even want heat with Ethan because he is funny when he's hollering and wrestling and whatever. And that is funny. When he dances and he smokes a cigarette, it makes me laugh. But he's also like, well, just anybody that gives him a modicum of attention. Like Nick cucked him, then let him back, then he's kissing Nick's ass again. So he'll go back to anybody as long as you start being nice.
He
It's
flipped
fucking
3 times
pathetic.
in a week.
Three times already
In
this
a
week.
He
started.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, no, he started out and was like, "Well, we just don't know with Rekieta." Then it was like, "Well, I guess that fart laughing at it wasn't so funny, bish. This is worse than anything I've ever fucking encountered." Then it was like, "Well, guys, like he's a king, and we gotta defend him against the kosher casino and their Jewish benefactors, and this is a Jewish conspiracy against loyal Rekieta, and he's gonna come on as the first interview, guys." By the way, if Rekieta does that, please, Rekieta, I actually want you to give your first interview to Ralph. I want that.
too.
I want that for you. I want that
That
for
would
you,
be
friend.
incredible.
That's what you deserve,
go
and
on-
that's
he
what
wouldn't-
Ralph
he-
deserves.
But he wouldn't go on Ethan's show before that, so he's just lying. But if he went on
Yeah.
it, that would be the best thing ever. But he's just trolling.
Here's what the best case scenario is for Ralph. That Rekieta goes on Dick Masterson's show, and Ralph is allowed to be on the panel. That's
that would count to him,
really-
though. He would count that, though.
He
Ashton.
would count that as a big win, you know?
you casino.
You motherfucker. But,
Well-
it is just sad. Like, with Ralph, man, what I've realized is he's just so desperate for attention, and his life is so fucked up now and so sad that I just let him go in it. Like giving him the attention that we used to give him, it honestly elevates him.
Yeah.
At this
Yeah,
point,
he does.
We actually help
does.
him, like, you know?
because he's just so
Your clips
low
do
down.
great. Your clips do great. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I mean. I watch your show. I tune into your show all the time. I'm just saying those clips, they're good. And then Alyssa Clips always shows clips. So it's easy. They're easy accessible. There's a Kino Clips channel. And so it definitely elevates him and keeps him relevant. But, you guys should kind of keep, that picture
Well,
though,
listen.
Andy, with everybody, Coach Red Pill and Nick, that's the most legendary picture other than the Summit Shoe medallion ever.
There will always be a place in our heart for fucking with Ralph and dunking on Ralph and messing with
It
Ralph.
became too much of the same, though.
The problem is it's just right now we're in a holding period. There's no real arc. He doesn't have a baby mama right now. There's no children for him to abuse. He doesn't even have his Mexican prostitute girlfriend. He's doing his I'm sober Ralph.
He blows
Which
it.
Do you understand that this man is such an alcoholic that he has to blow into a breathalyzer to start his stream?
I'm not even joking.
Like
I
somebody
know,
with
it's like
4
a kid.
DUIs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like he's got a breathalyzer in his car, but it's for his stream.
So, ooh.
Oh, I'm gonna start doing that on my show. I'm gonna have to rip him off. Be like, I just want to make sure I'm giving you guys a sober show and blow into it. I mean, that's bad.
Listen,
That's
when it
bad.
gets to that point, it's like, whoa, buddy. But his own life choices at this point A-log him more than we ever could. The guy can't even set foot in America. He's on the run.
Yeah, I know. It's really
Do
a
you
bad thing.
understand, Alex? He lives in a tin shack It is
Airbnb type situation, right?
No, it's an actual like tin shack now. It's 50 feet by 50 feet in some guy's backyard. He has a router hooked up out there. And this is how he's living his life. He has no air conditioning. It got to the point on his stream a few days ago. I'm not making this up. The heat actually killed his PC.
No, it got that hot because
it was so hot because the metal.
Didn't his dog starve or something?
Well, he ate his dog or whatever.
No, he left his dog, remember, with like a food mountain and came back and the dog was just dead.
Oh,
that's one of the worst. That's one of the worst stories I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. So he's going after you now? Why is he mad? He's just mad that you're like telling Nick to get help?
Yeah, basically. I don't even know. He's just gunt guarding or nose guarding. I mean,
I
don't even care.
I would say out of you, you were like the most like chill about it. Like you were still like, Nick, what the but you weren't like us going, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like you were being more nice about it. You guys
crush people. Yeah. You guys are like, you and Red Bar, you guys are the toughest people when it comes to, A-logging. I'm serious. And I mean that as a compliment. Red Bar, I think, is great at what he does.
Yeah, he
but
is.
my
go on.
Well, I'm just saying, when it comes to Nick, I do want to be a little empathetic because like earlier when I did say, his in-laws are telling on him, his pastor's telling on him, like he's in church, he's kind of shaking. He set himself up, but there are people that are talking behind his back, talking a lot of shit. That has to make you paranoid. If people in my personal life were conspiring with the local cops of Kundahani County, or wherever the he lives, Spicer, Minnesota, I would feel a little sketched out. That would make me feel like I don't have. I know.
Organized religion, and how organized religion keeps you in line is through shame. And that's the way it works. And that keeps you accountable. And it makes you think twice before you do something fucking stupid, because you think, oh, what if church lady so-and-so learns that, oh my God, I was out drinking a beer. Better not have that beer, And like, I know that by firsthand experience. I remember when I fucking turned 19 and I first, had a beer. And I was worried. I'm like, what if the people at church find out that I had a beer? Yeah. And so you can think of that what you will, but, that's what he signed up for. And that's what he signed up to put his children in. He homeschooled his children, part at home and part at the church. This is what he signed up for. And it's like, I'm sorry, but there's no refunds like 20 years into this, bro. Suffer.
Yeah, well, he's suffering. But yeah, if he would have been in public school, nobody would even notice his kids were stinky, probably. You know what I mean? He would still be out of jail, sadly. But because he went to this church homeschool with only probably 10, 15 kids in it, and his kids are the stinkiest in class, not my words, according to the cops, it's going to stick out even more. So he's just, he screwed himself by being in such a small community and doing cocaine and wife swapping in his house. Like, that's the worst part about this, is how did he explain to the kids at 16 why there's 4 people in daddy and mommy's bedroom? I mean, that's
bed. They're forced to a bed.
The 16-year-old.
I don't even know how that works. Being 4 to a
at least bed. He goes, I know.
Shit, something. I can't even have 2 in the bed. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Me and a
size. But imagine you have 4 fucking people in the bed. It's like 2 PPPs in a bed. It's not going to work.
No, it's not going to work at all. And it wasn't working. And do we know where I mean, I don't want to dox anybody. Everybody's like, oh, doxing. Because Ethan Ralph tried to say that I doxed Nick because I said that the kids are with the in-laws. I think everybody's publicly stated that the kids are with the in-laws. Like, I don't know why they're trying to consider that.
He was saying that about Ashton, too, 2 days ago, that he was trying to dox for that question. But then it turns out that Ralph the next day releases the fucking unredacted document.
All that information is public. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not saying their names or anything, but I think it's germane to this to know that Nick is not in custody of his kids and that they're not in a foster home, right? That we know that they're with a family. I think that's an interesting part of the story, that people want to know what's happening to the kids. Because if there was no kids, Nick, probably none of this would have happened.
If he wants to be a public figure, he wants to be a public figure, right? Then it's a matter of public interest as to where these children are. Like, you don't want them to be with CPS. Like, God only knows the horrors of the foster care system and of CPS. And like, ideally, I would like the kids to be raised by their parents, just
Yes.
sober and not doing weird polycule shit, high on coke and drunk out of their minds all day. But what's bad is because it's the kids who snitched. Like, I don't even want to know what Rekieta is going to do to them when he gets his hands on them again. And
Well, we don't
that's
know.
like a
I
really
mean,
dark
yeah.
thought.
Yeah, but I don't think he would hurt his kids. I mean, he's too skinny. The kids would probably beat his ass.
Well, I mean, there's like a 6-year-old girl. If he can't beat up a 6-year-old girl,
Okay, well, the
this is
6-year-old
like
girl, he
dark.
can.
This is dark shit.
This is very
But this
dark.
is where we're at with the scenario, So let's lighten it up a bit. Let's talk about Vic. You had Vic scheduled on your show yesterday. What happened?
Well, it was an epic fumble, but really, Vic is a friend of mine, and Vic actually wanted to come on the show. He actually called me when things were just first starting to happen. He didn't realize how bad they were, right? They didn't have like their police reports and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And then once he realized the neglect stuff, Vic told me that Nick reached out to him. Nick has reached out to him, and Nick has been nice to him in text. And I'm like, Vic and I start to have this basically a friendly argument, because I'm friends with Vic. Like, he lives in the Metroplex. I've hung out with him a few times. He's been on my show a bunch. Like, he's actually a pretty laid back, nice guy. But Nick has manipulated this guy because he's a voice actor. Nick is a little theater kid, for lack of a better word. And I mean that with all due respect. I'm just saying he's an artist guy. He doesn't know legality or whatever. And like, let's be real with Vic. He probably did flirt with these girls, but he would never do it. He's one of the most professional guys I know. What he was accused of was not as bad as they were, but he was so dumb to take legal advice from a crackhead like Nick that raised a GoFundMe for him that he had no control of, where now that, yes, his legal fees were taken care of the first time, but he still owes over hundreds of thousands of dollars in restitution for their legal fees. So it was just a big fuck up that any normal attorney would have half a brain would probably tell him not to do it and just move on with your career. Try not to make it a bigger deal than it already is, because that's just how cancel culture works. People forget about this crap, right? And because of Nick, he feels burned, but Vic thinks that he can just get off scot-free by just trying to avoid it. And I'm like, dude, you have to disavow, because when you Google Vic and Vic Mignogna and Nick Rekieta, there's pictures of them on the beach hugging. There's pictures of them drinking and smoking cigars. People are going to associate, like, Vic's having a panic attack because now his name's constantly getting dragged in the mud by Steel Toe. I'm bringing it up, but I'm trying to defend Vic. But now he's getting dragged into it. Vic does not like that. He's hired a crisis management team to try to help him deal with this. That's how bad Vic is feeling about all this.
Really? It's
Yes.
got to the point where because of Rekieta's f-ups, Vic is out even more money. Now he has to hire a crisis management team to handle the crisis of Rekieta's
PR team.
A PR
Yeah,
team.
crisis PR team to help. And he's open about it. He's like, yeah, I'm paying them. They're going to tell me. And they said, I cannot talk about it. I need to distance myself, which I do agree with. But I think he needs to make a public statement saying all the bad stuff that Nick did, because Nick behind his back was calling him a homosexual.
Yeah.
Nick was trashing him with Steel Toe. Nick doesn't respect him. And then Vic's like, well, he used to call my pants gay. He didn't call me gay. And I want to be like, no, Vic, he would say some bad stuff about you with Steel Toe. That's what Aaron said. And I don't think Aaron's lying about that. I think Aaron's probably lied about some stuff in this, but I think he's telling the truth in that, because why is he going to guard for Vic? He doesn't know Vic. He doesn't care about Vic. So Nick's like such a bad guy, just talking crap about Vic, who he basically helped ruin his life. I mean, in a way, I know that's how Vic feels like his life is ruined from this, and I think he would openly say that. He doesn't want to publicly state it, but I think he would openly say that to his friends, so Nick would know this. And he's getting crushed right now because of Nick Rekieta's drug habit. It's really sad.
Who's attacking him? Like, is it just like fans? Is it like
he's just getting dragged into it, because when you go to Nick Rekieta's YouTube page, the first thing is a pinned interview with him and Vic.
So he's
like,
like,
if you yeah, and there's articles that come up. So now everybody, Nick is a very popular YouTube streamer, but there's not a ton of press about him, right? So when the press does come up, it's usually you saw that Fox one, the most recent one, and then usually it's stuff with freaking Vic. So he's just getting an influx of attention that he doesn't want. He says that I questioned him. Says that he only drinks a few drinks at a few anime cons or whatever, but he's been to a few anime cons with him, and that he had no idea about the swinging and all that stuff. And I pressed him on that, and he denied it. He said, "No, I did not know." I was like, "Well, you got pictures with him." You know, it's like if you had a picture with Hitler or something, people would think that you're associated with Hitler. You know what I mean? It's just, guilty by association is what I'm saying. I'm not saying Nick's Hitler, but you know what I mean. I'm saying if you have a picture with somebody that's
Worse.
Yeah, it's it's not worse than that, but he's gonna have to distance himself, but he's going through it, and I feel really bad for Vic.
Yeah, no, that sucks, man. Like,
So is Rekieta actually like pressing him not to go public? Like, is he like what is your read on that? Like, he's blowing up his phone, basically telling him he loves him and shit.
Yeah, he's like love bombing him, according to Vic, like just being like, I heard you going on Alex Stein's show, I hope you do well, like kind of being like, sarcastically nice. And I was like, Vic, you should have his number blocked. I block people if they call me whatever on the internet. I block them. Like this guy, because like I said, from the stories that I'm getting from Vic's like, I don't want to hurt Nick. I don't want to be associated with him. He just wants to be like a breakup or something. That's what he wants. He really doesn't wish any ill will on him, but he's not disconnecting himself with him, and it's gonna look bad for him unless he does. But he's just it's
so
sad.
his bottom line to you like yesterday is, I just don't want to talk bad about him.
Yeah, basically, that's really kind of what he said. And I was like, "Are you being mean in these text messages?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I am." But I mean, I'm not calling Vic a liar by any means. I don't think he's really being that mean to Vic, because he's not a mean. I mean, Vic is not a mean guy. So I don't think Vic is being mean back to Nick. And Nick's probably handling knows how to handle it, be nice.
How long is Vic gonna take this Baldo? Like, the guy's fucked him so many ways with the Baldo.
brutally.
It's brutal.
His
He
life.
needs to remove the Baldo from thy ass, sir. Please.
I agree 100%. And he says it.
Financially-
But Vic said he didn't even know about the swinging and stuff. And I'm like, but those allegations were pretty thing. He's like, I never saw it. He swore up and down.
But he was all good. So, like, you had this appearance lined up after he had been arrested, no?
Yes. And then Nick, I believe, got to him. And this crisis management team.
Or was it just that because he was going to defend Rekieta, probably, right? Was that your sense of it?
Not really defend him, but just say, get help, bro. That's how Vic's like, get help, bro. He's not gonna. We're
gonna pray for you, bro. Type thing.
Yes.
Get help, bro. Type thing. And then did it have any impact on him? The news that the kids were hungry and stinky. Was that why he no longer wanted to come on?
That's what he kind of expressed to me too. Is once he didn't realize how, because once he got arrested, we didn't know all the stories about the neglect and who wrote the stuff. So yeah, I think once he found out how bad it was, he didn't realize how bad it was until he realized how bad it was. If that makes sense, until he started getting hit up. But still, nobody can defend that. Dick Masterson, who I think's funny, but the fact that he's defending Nick like this, when even if the warrant and all that stuff was BS, and good, I hope he doesn't go to jail, but it still doesn't hide the fact that the guy's doing blow in front of his kids and other people's kids. If Aaron's telling the truth, he's snorting lines with Aaron's kids around. Like, these poor kids, and I'm not saying that like I'm some savior, but they couldn't be with all these cracked out parents. My dad wouldn't even drink a beer in front of me growing up, and I know a lot of parents do, but imagine ripping lines. Give me a break.
Well, let's think about one particular part of Aaron's testimony. He said that there was a bullet of cocaine that like his 4-year-old was playing beside and nearly picked up. Like,
I was like, what the f***? He goes, well, no, he didn't touch it. Which, okay, but it's beside him. That's insane. And, well, Aaron's defense was, well, I told them to not bring drugs over. Listen, telling a drug addict to not bring drugs doesn't work. So you all know, a drug addict who does drugs daily will bring drugs everywhere, even if you ask them not to. Just to let you all know.
Yeah.
And he had a family car. He had a Lincoln Navigator, and I'm learning this after the fact. And then he bought a 2-door Mustang for a family of 7. So that was his cracked out car. You know what I mean? That was his car that had the weed. I mean, I heard they didn't smoke weed, but that's where he was doing the key bumps. That was the crack mobile, in my opinion.
That's sort of a crazy decision, by the way. It goes to show he had no priority for his family whatsoever. Where's the minivan? You know what I mean?
Well, people got then because he's at nose guarding people. They're like, well, he also owned a Navigator. You asshole. But it's like, it's not even about that. It's just, it shows that he's selfish, dude. He's worried about his own pleasure than instead of like raising his kids. That's why he's getting kicked out of the thing as a school teacher at the homeschool thing. You don't get kicked out of there unless you're acting totally repugnant. They don't probably get paid for that. You know what I mean? He's getting fired from a volunteer job. That's bad. It's like a football coach for the Little League. They need those coaches. Not a lot of people want to do it. Some people want to do it, but if you get fired from that, it's because you're doing something that is like unbecoming of a gentleman, of an adult, of a father, and it's pretty bad when that happens.
You don't say. Well, he's love bombing Vic. He's putting this pressure on Vic. We've seen his DMs. Did you see this? These DMs that leaked today.
Yeah, that was supposedly Yellow Flash. Where I mean, dude, he's not shown any remorse whatsoever. That's his biggest problem is he can come back from this. He needs to say, I'm sorry, I got to work on some stuff. I'm not perfect. Give me a couple of weeks. And then when he comes back, it even has more oomph. But if he comes back really fast, which I think we're all predicting probably within the next couple of days, it's going to be a dud. I mean, it's going to be a lot of viewers, but he's just going to look bad. He needs to at least appease us. You know, that's how you trick the audience or whatever. He needs to at least make us think that he's working on himself. Even if he's not, he should have that appearance, because people are going to be like, dude, what the hell? You just lost your kids and now you're on a stream drinking again? Like, bro, he cannot do that again.
He's going to drink on stream.
He's gonna,
yeah, he is.
He's going to act
That's his crutch.
like we're all crazy. He's going to act like we're all crazy, we're all stupid and exaggerating the situation.
That's the part
Well,
that really...
they're going to... This was because, man, they call us all clout chasers. All he did was cover Johnny Depp and Amber Heard taking shits in their bed.
Exactly.
That's literally all he talked about. So now that he has a legal case, I hope they do have the live stream in the courtroom. I hope we do watch it, because he is a public person of interest. We should be covering his court case. That is irony. That's going to be... And when you know what? When he has a documentary comes out about him, or when a 16-year-old becomes old enough and can write a book, it's going to be a best-selling book. He's going to be like, my dad was the guy that covered all these trials, and then his trial was the most viral trial on the internet. It's just, Hollywood couldn't write this script.
And do you know what he said? And we could pull up the clip. It's in the group chat here.
Sure.
But he in the past said that every trial should be public, that all of them should be filmed and showed.
They had that on record.
Oh,
yeah.
That Josh. Okay, here. I'll put it
This
up.
this kind of sets him up for a bit of a fall here.
The reason
Here we go. Alex, are you seeing this?
Yeah,
On
I
the
can
show?
see it, yeah.
is that video is critical and should be in every single courtroom in every single
Dude,
case.
and the judge.
Video and
What kind of luck
transparency
does this guy have?
of the courts is something I'm pretty passionate about. One,
You know, he
because I'm
lost his
self-interested.
ass. And that thing when they said they went to the casino, I was like, I know he lost $4,000 minimum on a slot machine or
You
whatever
want to
he's
hear
playing.
something that's real bad about the casino? Allegedly, this was on Christmas Day.
Damn.
Really?
That on Christmas Day, the children had to spend Christmas alone because they needed to go to the casino for fucking 5-6 hours.
Oh!
I'm not surprised, though. I'm not surprised, because that's what an addict would do, because his family in-laws are probably doing some Christmas thing. They don't want to do it. So they like compartmentalize a different event that they could do on Christmas where they get to be degenerates. You know, they were doing bumps at the casino, you know? So they probably did some family stuff in the morning and then said, we're going to the casino, stay with mom and dad or grandpa and grandma.
I wonder if it would hit him this Christmas if he's not with his kids. What a fucking disaster that would. But no, it won't, because he doesn't care about his kids, because they're a burden to him.
Ash, you were so right on that first stream that we were talking about this. Like, you were like, there's no way, this is not rock bottom. This is not, in his mind, he's so arrogant. He will never admit it. He has to be homeless on the streets or behind like some bars for like 20 years.
Because you got to think, right? Like, because for a lot of people, because he's going to go for a while without seeing his kids. He's going to miss birthdays that he's not going to get to spend with his kids. Like, Father's Day is coming up, right? Not going to be with his kids on Father's Day. You know, for a lot of people, that would be really devastating, and it would be like a really sobering moment. But I don't think we're dealing with that sort of a person.
No.
And it's like, if that's the sort of person he is, should he really be redeemed? Because, like, that's a really scummy sort of fucking person.
It is scummy,
That's his
but
flesh and blood that he made. He created them. Like,
yeah, but he should be able to be redeemed. This is another thing. And now I am nose guarding. I keep using that word because it makes me laugh. Because I played nose guard too. But this is the thing: is that he can be redeemed from this. I know that sounds insane, but he could be. I know it seems like he's too far gone. If he gets clean, the legal law tube will come back. I can't believe how many people are kissing ass when they know that his kids were dirty at church.
I know, isn't it bad?
You know, it blows my mind.
The truth is he can, but the question I'm asking is, should he? You know, but he will. He's going to come back. He's going to have all sort of support. People are going to kiss his ass or whatever. They're going to gas. Well, it's just the mean Kiwi farmers and it's just the evil Keno Casino. And they're making up lies and this and that. But at the end of the day, like, he really, truly is a scumbag. Now, from my personal belief is that anybody can be redeemed, that even a murderer could accept Jesus Christ and repent of their sins and be saved. I know a lot of people don't believe that. Even some Christians don't believe in that redemptive power. But I believe that God can save any soul. Mm-hmm. But do I believe that he should be granted a position of privilege and honor and influence with everybody worshiping him? Maybe not. You know, maybe not. Maybe like we should all be adults and be like, you know what, buddy, you couldn't even feed your kids. And maybe the fact that you were a big shot e-celeb had something to do with that. Probably a lot to do with that, really. Because you thought you were so fucking high and mighty and a king. And maybe that opportunity and privilege shouldn't be afforded to you any longer. I don't know. That's just me.
I don't think he should. Like it will always be a tarnish, like a stain on his legacy. Like, yes, I swear to God, I hope he like stops doing drugs, stops drinking, stops doing everything, and figures it out, right? I really do hope, because it's a bad place to be. It's scary. I can't even imagine if you had 5 kids, right? But I think if he ever came back, even like in 3-4 years, like I don't think he'll ever have the reputation that he ever had before during the Depp trial or anything.
No.
There will always be that. Remember that time? That will always be there. Like, let's be honest, it will be.
Well, okay, let me ask you guys this, because you guys know better than me. It seems like a pretty selfless thing to do to have 5 kids, right? So you would think that seems like a guy that would want to have a big family, because really, I'll be honest, I want to have kids. I'm kind of nervous because the kids are such a big responsibility. I know once I have a kid, my whole life is dedicated to the kid. Yeah. Seems like he started out, he wasn't swearing on streams. It seemed like he started out as a good guy, trying to have all these kids, and then it just got out of hand where he can't handle it, right? It's just too many kids, too much pressure. He needs a party.
He's basically explained it as to where he just realized he didn't want to live that life anymore, and that what he signed up for wasn't good for him anyway. Mm-hmm. And he said that he felt like he was constrained in life by like his parents, because he's like got a trust fund, right? Mm-hmm. So like that access to that trust fund is contingent on him acting in a certain way and being a part of the community in a certain way, right? So once he started to get his own money behind him after the Johnny Depp and the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, he felt like he didn't have to answer to anybody. And you get high on your own supply and you think that you're better than everybody else and you're smarter than everybody else. And the way that these people at church are living, I'm better than them. I don't have to live that way. I can handle the cocaine. I can handle the drinking. And then you end up like that. You end up with that mugshot.
And he talks on his stream like he knows everything. I mean, I think we're us two, the first to admit we're all idiots, but you would think this guy is like, he thinks he's the smartest guy ever. Just the way he was talking to the judge, like, oh, let me go speak to my clients, April and Kayla or whatever. You're like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of smart. I guess he's trying to talk to them right before they, speak to the judge. But it's like, dude, you better not represent those hoes. Dude, they're going to go to jail with you, dude. You better not represent yourself, you idiot. You're on crack. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Is brutal.
There's no logic.
Buddy.
There's no honestly, man, there's no train of logic. Like, it's almost like, what? In his mind, it makes sense. It has in his mind, because I want to know about the people who actually see what he's turned into and why they think he's not fucked up. I would love to see the regular viewer who's like, no, you guys are crazy. He's not on drugs. What do you see? What do you see? Are you autistic? Are you ever? Because this is a guy who anyone a mindset, legal mindset was saying 96% of his audience went, he's on drugs. What are those 4%? What do they think? No, he's tired. He didn't sleep last night. Come on.
No, and he had 26 grams of cocaine. I know people that are cocaine users that, they never had 26 grams. And you know what I mean? Like that A ball is a lot of cocaine. Somebody has an A ball of cocaine, you're like, whoa, that guy's crazy. He had 26 grams. That's like however many A balls, dude, and Molly and ketamine, supposedly, dude. He was tooted
No,
and
but this
zooted.
is what he's doing. Like, he won't back down from it. So this is something, if you go into the Rekieta Cope folder, you'll find him saying this on Locals. The amount of people accepting a government narrative is both surprising and unsurprising.
The government narrative.
What it is.
Of the YouTuber lawyer.
It's a government narrative. It's a conspiracy against him, Alex.
Yeah.
They were able to charge him with felony possession, and I'm not an attorney, but they basically got him like dead to rights. They're going to get him to plead to something smaller. He knows that, and that's why they charge him with a felony, so they can get him for a misdemeanor and probably lock him up, put him under house arrest. I think he could get house arrest potentially, but none of that matters. If you're on house arrest, you have a monitor, you have a constant piss test. If he's not clean, he's going to go to jail and have to do the full
but
lick.
Alex, you're assuming he's going to plea out, my friend.
You think he's going to fight it? There's no way.
Have you been hearing what Robert Barnes has to say?
Yeah, Fourth Amendment violation because of illegal search and seizure. But I don't know anything. I heard Dick yelling something about a mandatory reporter. Apparently, if you're like a school teacher or something, you are required to say something to the authorities. Yeah. So there's obviously some sort of legal precedent where this is a serious complaint. It's not just Joe Blow off the street. It's somebody that like works with them or a nurse or school. So I think the mandatory reporter thing could hold up a little bit.
The kids came to their school teacher at like the Christian homeschool and said they were hungry and hadn't had a change of clothes in 4 days.
Well,
the school teacher
pathetic.
Also, though, again, Sean said this. Andrew from Mindset said this. That it's not just the reporter. It was everything. Like at the same time, it was
all
the stream, the
all of it is taken together to constitute probable cause for the warrant.
So it wasn't one thing where one guy's like, "Oh, they're hungry." No, it was the stream. It was Aaron's Aaron saying stuff on his show about taking Molly and Coke. It was it was everything.
Aaron told on him. Well, Andy, how much is Aaron? Aaron is the one, and I like Aaron a little bit. I used to really not like him, but I kind of like him because he's being so funny now, crying on stream and stuff. But he snitched on him. Whether he likes it or not, he was singing like a bird. His name's all in that thing. They're in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota, and he's talking about how he's doing Molly and Coke. Yeah. Like the cops got nothing better to do. They're gonna send in the clips. They don't want to go catch any real criminals. Like they love going and busting down Nick Rekieta's house and not a cartel member. And then when they bust it down, Robert Barnes might have a point if it's Fourth Amendment. They go in the house, they don't find anything, and they scare the kids, and they, illegal arrest or whatever. They don't find anything. But they found a bunch of shit. So the warrant was valid. I mean, a judge is not going to feel bad for issuing a warrant when they did find drugs at the place they issued the warrant for. You guys made me laugh so much covering the SpaghettiOs gate where, he's feeding SpaghettiOs. Yeah. If we would have known how dark it really was, like we kind of did know there was coke and stuff, but we didn't really actually know they were swinging. We didn't know, so it just makes those SpaghettiOs so much darker. And how is it so hard for a kid to just pop a top off? I was cooking SpaghettiOs when I was like 10 years old. You know what I mean? Like I remember microwaving crap when I was very young. How are these kids how do they not know to use a microwave?
You gotta realize these kids were pampered and spoiled. They grew up rich. They had a nanny to take care of everything for them. And so they probably weren't taught to be self-sufficient at any point because they never had to be. But aside from that, it's hard to open the can of SpaghettiOs when it's not purchased for you. When there is, in fact, no SpaghettiOs because your parents are too irresponsible to even order fucking Uber Eats. Isn't that
does make sense? Yeah, that doesn't make sense that they couldn't just order, like Illegal Mindset said, some those pre-made meals you just microwave. I mean, they should have a house full of food. But do you think that because his views and stuff have gone down, that's why he lost the other housekeeper? Or do you think he was sleeping with that housekeeper and something went sideways?
From what I understand, the housekeeper, what Aaron said, now who the knows if it's true or not, this is Aaron. He said the housekeeper had enough. Now, she had been an employee of the Reketas, according to the incident report, for 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
So she
had to see the drugs. I mean, she's around the house.
So
There's
that's
no
the
way.
thing is, I think that the drug use and it just got to be too much. So she left like a few months ago. And then I think that's where shit really went downhill. Now, why they couldn't find a replacement is beyond me.
April was a replacement.
The house, exactly. But also the housekeeper is a member of the church. So she probably reported all the shit that she saw back to the church. And so they're also informed by that when they're ratting on Nick, along with their own firsthand accounts of the children smelling, saying they're hungry. They like Rekieta, and all of the services are filmed. So we actually have footage of like Rekieta shaking.
I saw his knee. Hey, but this is kind of like Church of Scientology, though. Now we're getting like live streams from the church. Yeah. They're all like, and they all go to school there. Like, Lord knows what that curriculum is. I can only imagine what weird ass curriculum. But like, it's just a very weird thing that Nick got himself in knowing that he's part of this community would go this far off the deep end. Because if he was just doing it occasionally, he could probably get away with this. Do you think Steel Toe, the first guy that banged Aaron's wife, April, was Nick, but Kayla has had multiple guys, who knows, bang her before Nick started swinging. Does that make sense? I'm saying Nick was the original swinger in all of this. Aaron probably never wife swapped till he met Nick.
Yes, I agree. Yes,
I will say this to the defense of the church. I don't think that they're really an extreme evangelical church. Like, they're not a church that brings in like snakes to bite them because they believe they're going to be healed. They don't have charismatic speaking in tongues, healings of the sick. They don't even really evangelize. They're like a Lutheran church, do you know?
Yeah, so they're not super evangelical,
But they offer like a homeschooling program because they're a larger church. Do you know what I mean? So this is honestly like, it's basically Catholicism, but with like instrumental music being played. You know what I mean? Like a church band they have and stuff like that. Like, this isn't even like a crazy, super strict, hyper, like, they're just not. So
is his sister-in-law in the church?
I think so, and she's one of the ones who reported him as well. Now, she might not be in the church. I don't know. But from what I understand, she also came forward against them. So when you have the aunt coming against, you have the pastor, you have 4 other people in the church, the preschool teacher, then you have our own fucking lying eyes seeing this guy with fucking powder on his nose and all this shit. Like, at a certain point, it's just you're taking the fucking piss. Like, you're gonna get fucked.
Where there's smoke, there is. So it's not even smoke. It's like we saw the fire in between the trees. Like, that's fire right there, isn't it, guys? No, right, we're lying.
He read the same super chat 11 times.
I saw that stream. No, those streams were so bad, but he told on himself with those streams. But dude, I didn't realize it's already 9:15 here. I'm about to have to go. But dude, thank you guys for having me. And I just want to say, and thank you guys for coming on my show. I want to have you guys back on my show maybe next week whenever you guys are free. I know you guys are busy, but I'd like to have you guys back because I wanted my audience to get the coverage.
By the way, your show, you had Turkey Tom on today. I'm going to watch that later.
He's awesome.
How was that? Was it good?
Yes.
We were obviously live.
He A-logged everybody, DSP and Wings of Redemption, who I like, and, we A-logged some people. But Turkey Tom he's 21-year-old kid. He's fucking crushing it. He's a genius. He's not going to go there and blab his mouth off. He knows exactly what the hell he's doing. He's a smart kid. He's going to blow up. Not that he's already not huge, but you know what I mean. He's like unstoppable. But I just want to say this for Nick. I know you guys don't hate Nick. Nick has made his life a reality TV show that is can't miss TV with illicit clips, with you guys covering illicit clips, with illicit clips clipping you guys. It's some of the best content on the internet. And I don't have any beef, Nick. I really would actually like you to get your life on track. And I do appreciate, I didn't watch any of your Johnny Depp stuff, but I've watched hours and hours and hours of your cocaine meltdown stuff. And it is the best stuff on the internet right now. And that's why I don't feel guilty talking about it, because I'm interested in it. So I like talking about stuff that I'm interested in. And at the end of the day, you covered everybody. It is what it is, and your court case should be live streamed, and we're going to cover that, and it's going to be funny, and it is what it is.
Yeah, man. Well, everyone, prime time with Alex Stein. And then Alex Stein, I saw you were stream sniping us from the hotel bedroom.
Yes.
It looked like,
Dude, I was just watching it. I watched it for an hour. Dude, y'all's show with Aaron was so good. I mean, you guys really are. And, you know, and I know Ethan's going to get mad, but you guys have just taken over the sector, dude. It's sad that Ethan,
dead, bro.
you guys, I'm just saying, you guys killed it, dude. It's so sad. Dude.
Thank you, man.
You guys
really
killed the sector.
Really kind words, bro. Thank you so much.
All
I really
right.
appreciate it.
Peace, guys.
All right, yo,
Bye.
peace out.